Chapter 1998, Unforeseen Event 4. Chapter 1998, Unforeseen Event 4. He was trying all he could to stop the door from closing. Quickly, Feng Sun shouted at Feng Wu. He couldn't hold on for much longer. Sure, realizing how serious the situation was, she ran as fast as she could, but the moment before she reached the gate, thump! A giant hand suddenly appeared from outside and charged at Feng Wu. Shit! Feng Wu had a very bad feeling, as if the shadow of death had fallen upon her. Xiao Wu! Feng Sun and Xian Yi cried out in unison. They had never sounded so scared. Feng Wu could see the horror in their eyes. She had calculated her speed and should be in time to pass that door, but at the last moment, that terrifying hand appeared. She saw Ranmil standing outside the door behind that giant hand. There was a malicious smile on her face. This was it. Was this the card she had been hiding? Boom! The giant hand hit Feng Wu in the chest. Crack! Feng Wu could hear the sound of her ribs breaking. The moment before the door closed, she threw Qiuling at Feng Sun with all her strength. She knew that Feng Sun would get her. Thump! Thump! The first thump was from Feng Wu falling back to the ground after the giant hand hit her. Another thump was the door to the tombs closing. All sound seemed to disappear at that moment. The two worlds were separated by the door. Outside, Feng Sun caught Qiuling, and the impact pushed him out of the doorway. When he realized what had happened, the door had shut tightly. Xiao Wu! Feng Sun had never screamed like that before. He kept pounding the door. But the door was as hard as wrought iron. No matter how hard he knocked, and even when his fists were bleeding, the ancient door still wouldn't budge. Xiao Wu, Xiao Wu. Feng Sun was so angry and frustrated that he didn't know what to do. His mind went blank. He didn't know what he should tell Jun Linyuan later. Meanwhile, Xian Yi had drawn out his sword. Whoosh! His blade glinted. Poof! It cut Ranmil's skin open. Xian Yi looked like the god of death himself, and he reminded one of an iceberg that hadn't melted a bit for 3,000 years. The blade seemed to freeze the air around him. Whoosh! He then made dozens of strikes in a row. Before Ranmil realized it, she was covered in wounds. It was obvious that Xian Yi didn't want to kill her in one strike, because it would make it too easy for her. Ranmil was covered in wounds, and her white dress had blood all over it. When she could finally think straight again, she began to run toward the crowd. By then, they had left the tombs. Outside, Emperor Wu and Chieftain Sinel were drinking together. Chieftain Sinel knew that Ranmil had the map her master gave her, and he was the one who had given her the giant hand. Therefore, he was sure that Ranmil could find the seed of spirit source. However, Chapter 1999, Unforeseen Event 5. Chapter 1999, Unforeseen Event 5. Things didn't happen as he anticipated. Because Ranmil was stumbling toward him. Blood covered her dress, and she was crying as she ran. A ferocious swordsman was following her closely from behind and would strike her with the sword every few moments. Go! Infuriated, Chieftain Sinel gave Siko, the captain of his guard, an order, and the man charged out. Thump! 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 He broke into a fight with Xian Yi. Chieftain Sinel rushed to Ranmil's side and steadied her. What happened? What's going on? Chieftain Sinel was astonished. As soon as he made contact with her, he noticed that the spiritual essence inside her had become so much weaker. The genius teenage girl that he had had so much hope for was a spiritual grandmaster. How can you be a spiritual grandmaster? Ranmil, say something. Chieftain Sinel had never been so furious and scared before. And is that man of the Junwu Empire trying to kill you? He bellowed. The warriors of the grassland stood in a row behind him and drew out their swords. At the same time, Emperor Wu couldn't sit still anymore. He left his seat and quickly walked up to Chieftain Sinel and Ranmil. After all, he was the empire of the Junwu Empire and could remain level-headed. Since Chieftain Sinel's warriors had drawn out their weapons, the guards behind Emperor Wu did the same. They drew out their weapons as well. The atmosphere became very tense, and a battle could break out at any moment. Chieftain Senil bellowed at Sapphiro. Speak. Don't just stand there. Sapphiro didn't expect this to happen either and was still dumbfounded. Hearing her father's bellow, she finally returned to herself. Father! After all the trepidation she had experienced in the tomb chambers, Sapphiro finally burst into tears. Speak. Chieftain Senil's love and pity were for Ranmil only. Sapphiro quickly thought things through and said between broken sobs, she only wanted to kill my sister because he thought that she pushed Feng Wu back into the tombs. What? The looks on everyone's faces changed. Yes, it was quite a complicated situation. Something happened in the tombs, and the black-robed Ghost King told us to get out. So we just kept running. When we reached the door, Feng Wu. She was a little too late to get out, and my sister just happened to be standing there. Young Lord Xian thought that my sister had done something, so he's trying to kill her. Something happened inside? Is the place destroyed? Was Feng Wu not in time to get out? So, she's buried down there. Immediately, all eyes were on Sapphiro. The Empress Dowager, Empress Dugu, Mrs. Dugu, and Mrs. Zhua all began to ask questions. Yes, Feng Wu didn't get out. She's buried inside forever, Sapphiro said affirmatively. Lady Northern Feng felt blood rushing to her head, and her vision went blurry. My lady, Granny Tao immediately steadied her. Feng Wu hasn't come out, so she's dead just like that? Chapter 2000, Unforeseen Event 6. Chapter 2000, Unforeseen Event 6. Mrs. Zhua and Empress Dugu looked at each other, and Mrs. Zhua almost couldn't hide the smile in her eyes. Someone up there must be listening to their prayers. She had been praying every day for Feng Wu's demise, and as it turned out, luck was finally on her side. That was great news. The joy almost brought tears to her eyes. However, at that moment, where's Wuqing Xian and Zhua Qingyu? Mrs. Dugu held Dugu Yamo's hand and frowned. They shouldn't be running around in a dangerous place like this. Dugu Yamo was about to speak, but Mrs. Zhua waved her hand. Forget them. Yamo, tell me, is Feng Wu really dead? Is she really buried down there? Mrs. Zhua couldn't hide the smile on her face now. Dugu Yamo looked at her aunt and didn't know what to say. Zhua Qingyu was dead. So was Wuqing Xian. Something terrible happened there, and everything was destroyed. It's a living hell down there, and no one can survive. Feng Wu is... Dugu Yamo felt awful. I think Feng Wu was buried alive. Great. Mrs. Wu turned her head away and was shaking violently. She couldn't let other people see her ecstasy. Therefore, she quickly walked to a corner where no one could see her and began to laugh. Ha ha! Feng Wu, you're finally dead. Seeing the way Mrs. Zhua suppressed her laughter in the corner, Dugu Yamo wanted to say something, but she couldn't bring herself to speak a word. Right now, everyone's focus was still on Feng Wu. Feng Wu is dead. How? The Empress Dowager murmured. She didn't know how to describe her feelings now. She recalled how the girl had saved her over and over again, but she had only scolded her and pushed her away. Deep down, the Empress Dowager was a kind person, so she felt very guilty. Have I been mistreating her? She asked Granny Lon in a low voice. Granny Lon felt conflicted as well. She had always liked Feng Wu. After a moment, she chose not to answer the question directly. I wonder how His Royal Highness will react. The Empress Dowager paled. Her Junjun was opinionated and stubborn. If he knew that Feng Wu was dead and that it had something to do with the Senil grassland, would the two sides break into war? After all, that girl is Junjun's woman. If that princess really had something to do with her death, with the way Junjun is like, he'll never let this drop. The Empress Dowager sighed. At the same time, Sapphiro was still trying to exonerate Ranmil. Feng Wu didn't arrive in time. It was her problem. My sister had nothing to do with it. Smack! Feng Sun slapped Sapphiro in the face. It happened so fast that neither Sapphiro nor the others had time to react. Bullshit! Feng Sun spat at Sapphiro. He turned around and spoke to Emperor Wu in a serious tone. Your Majesty, I promise you that Feng Wu was killed by Ranmil. I swear it on my life. Wow! Chapter 2001. For Xiao Wu. 1. Chapter 2001. For Xiao Wu. 1. As soon as Feng Sun said those words, all eyes were on him. That oath would make many people believe him. Moreover, he was Feng Sun, the top young lord of the empire. Sapphiro didn't expect Feng Sun to back up Feng Wu like this. Feng Wu had died. If she was still alive, maybe Feng Sun would still find her useful, but what value did she have when she was dead? Why would Feng Sun still speak up for her? Your Majesty. Xian Yi finally stood still. He met Emperor Wu's gaze, the look in his eyes as sharp as the blowing snow sword in his hand. I also swear upon my head that Feng Wu was killed by Princess Ranmil. Thump. It was like throwing another bomb into the crowd, shocking everyone. Chieftain Senil was furious. He looked from Ranmil to Feng Sun and Xian Yi and said, there has to be a motive if Ranmil really did it. Tell me, why would she want to kill Feng Wu? Chieftain Senil then turned to the others. It's common knowledge that Ranmil is innocent, kind, and has a pure heart. She won't even kill an ant. Why would she kill any person? Your Majesty. Chieftain Senil cupped his fists at Emperor Wu. These two young men are very close to Feng Wu, and maybe they just want to blame someone for Feng Wu's death. I'm sure Your Majesty can tell what really happened. Emperor Wu felt very conflicted. He still couldn't accept the fact. Feng Wu was dead. She should have 9 lives like a cat. Was she really dead? The thought of that smart and lucky girl and the reaction Jun Lin Yuan would have when he heard about this already gave Emperor Wu a headache. Motive? Of course there's one. Feng Sun stared at Chieftain Senil. Everyone in that place knew what her motive was. Feng Sun smirked. Because Feng Wu forced Ranmil to destroy 2/3 of her own cultivation attainments. Wow. Everyone gave him strange looks when they heard that. They all asked what? Feng Wu forced Princess Ranmil to do that. That's not possible. How could she do that? Princess Ranmil is a better cultivator than her. Moreover, why would she do such a thing? Finally, everyone looked at Feng Sun again. Why would Feng Wu force Ranmil to destroy her own cultivation attainments? The older Senil prince stepped out and stared at Feng Sun. He knew that if he did well now, his father would be impressed. Good question. Feng Sun smirked. Why would Feng Wu do that? Ranmil, do you want to answer the question, or shall I answer it for you? All eyes were on Ranmil now. Ranmil was infuriated. She had always been a beloved figure, and no one had humiliated her like this. Feng Sun said, if you won't answer it, I will. Because you wanted to kill Feng Wu. Ranmil said, I didn't. Yes, you did, said Feng Sun. He stared at Ranmil and said, you wanted to kill Feng Wu and went after her. You provoked her first. You wanted to kill her first. After her survival team defeated your chosen team, according to the rules, all of you should have died. Chapter 2002. For Xiao Wu. 2. Chapter 2002. For Xiao Wu. 2. She was kind enough to let you go for the price of a little money. But Ranmil, I didn't expect you to be so evil. If I had known that you were so cold-blooded, I should have told Xiao Wu to throw you down the cliff back there. Feng Sun gritted his teeth and told the truth. But everyone was shocked already when they heard the second sentence. What? Feng Wu was on the survival team? How could the survival team win? That's impossible. All survival teams were annihilated before. If Feng Wu had defeated Ranmil's chosen team, how capable was she? The older prince stared at Ranmil. He gestured to her to say something in return, because this would destroy her reputation. Ranmil paled. She wanted to retort, but there were so many witnesses, and she couldn't just lie. You lost. So you paid Feng Wu 2/3 of your wealth and destroyed 2/3 of your cultivation attainments. Did you think that you wouldn't need to pay up just because she's dead? I didn't. Ranmil finally knew what to say. I didn't kill her. It's like you said. I've lost 2/3 of my cultivation attainments. So how am I supposed to harm her? Instantly, everyone fell silent again, but they immediately started talking after that. That's right. Princess Ranmil is only a spiritual grandmaster now. How could she harm Feng Wu? But young Lord Feng and young Lord Sun have sworn upon their lives that they're telling the truth. I have to believe them. Did you notice? Princess Ranmil didn't deny what young Lord Feng said. She admitted that she did what Feng Wu demanded, which means that young Lord Feng was telling the truth. While they were discussing among themselves, Ranmil cried and said, "Young Lord Feng, I'm already crippled. Why are you still picking on me? I only rejected you and said that I was in love with His Royal Highness. Is that why you hate me so much? Is that why you want to get back at me?" Wow, that was a very cunning move. By saying that, she was suggesting that Feng Sun was taking the opportunity to take his revenge. Since she had admitted it herself, Feng Sun wouldn't be able to use her affection for Jun Lin Yuan against her. Ranmil liked Jun Lin Yuan, and young Lord Feng liked Ranmil. Everyone began to give Feng Sun strange looks. If that assumption was true, Feng Sun's statement earlier would become very dubious. Feng Sun was never good at having arguments. He was able to make that speech because he was driven by his impulse. Also, it was because Ranmil had let him speak. Therefore, Feng Sun looked as stunned as if he had been struck by lightning. When he realized what was going on, he was furious. What on earth are you talking about? Why on earth will I fall in love with you? Are you saying that I'm doing this because you've rejected me? Don't make me laugh. You think too highly of yourself. You're so fake. I wouldn't like you even if you were the last woman alive. Chapter 2003. For Xiao Wu. 3. Chapter 2003. For Xiao Wu. 3. Seeing how frustrated Feng Sun was, Ranmil put on a wry smile. Young Lord Feng, you really are trying to deny everything. I should have seen it coming. Feng Sun almost jumped to his feet. I'm warning you. Stop making it sound like I've wronged you. I never liked you before, and I'll never like you. Ranmil only shook her head in a magnanimous manner. Sapphiro stepped out at that moment. Young Lord Feng, if you don't like her, why did you follow her around when we entered the tombs? Feng Sun said. Sapphiro asked, and during the lucky draw in the treasure hall, why did you keep helping her? Feng Sun said, I was just being kind. Sapphiro said, in the end, you even gave her the turtle diagram. And what can you say about that? Young Lord Feng, you're trying to pretend that nothing happened. Feng Sun said, if I had known that the diagram contained the map of the tombs, I would never have given it to her. Sapphiro smiled wryly. You say that now, but young Lord Feng, I hope you won't feel guilty about what you're doing. Feng Sun. Poor Feng Sun. He was no match for the two sisters. Meanwhile, in the tombs, when Feng Wu opened her eyes, she felt as if she had been run over by a truck. When she breathed, the pain almost made her pass out. It hurts. After a third try, she finally opened her eyes. She was in a palace. There was a drawing about ascending to heaven on the ceiling. Judging by the building material and the style, she was inside a tomb. But this wasn't right. Feng Wu struggled to sit up. When she looked around, she found nothing that suggested that the place had been destroyed. It was like the collapse had never happened. At that moment, Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. She had a bad headache. She remembered that she had almost reached the exit, but a giant hand flew out of Ranmil's sleeve. That hand struck her back inside the tombs, and she only had the time to throw Qiuling to Feng Sun. After that, she passed out. That was all that she could remember. Ranmil didn't show her hand when her cultivation attainments were destroyed. She had saved it for the most critical moment. The timing was perfect. She almost achieved her goal. Feng Wu coughed and felt pain all over her body. It was like she had been taken apart and put back together. It pained her to even move a finger. Didn't I pass out next to the exit? Where's this place? Why am I here? Feng Wu looked around and found the vast place empty. It was frighteningly big. She was the only one here in the spacious hall. Anyone would feel scared. Just then, she heard an eerie giggle. It gave her goosebumps. Who's there? Feng Wu narrowed her eyes. Chapter 2004, Ghost King Seal 1. Chapter 2004, Ghost King Seal 1. The creeping sound gave Feng Wu the creeps. She looked around, but couldn't see anything. There was the sound of someone breathing. Who the hell was it? Feng Wu looked around in bewilderment, but despite the sound, she couldn't see anyone. What? Why did she feel the ground vibrating? Feng Wu looked down, and the cold ground seemed to chill her to the bone. The breathing sound went on, and it never seemed to end. Where was it coming from? Holding the fallen star sword, Feng Wu cautiously looked ahead of her and pricked up her ears. Wait, why was this mound trembling like a wave? All of a sudden, Feng Wu's stomach lurched. She had a very bad feeling. No way. Realizing that something was wrong, she grabbed the curtain that was hanging down from the dome and quickly climbed upward. After a few hundred meters, she looked down. Gosh! What she saw frightened her, and a chill ran down her spine. She hadn't been standing on the ground just then. It was the belly of a giant snake. As for how big the snake was, it filled the space that was nearly 10,000 square meters big. It was beyond imagination. Run. That was the first idea that came to Feng Wu's mind. If this terrifying snake woke up, all it had to do was stick out its tongue, and Feng Wu would be dead. Luckily, there were enough curtains in the air for her to move around. No matter what, she had to get to the edge of the room first and find the door from there. However, things didn't go as she planned. Where was the door? Where are the windows? When Feng Wu searched the entire place despite the pain all over her body, she realized that it was a confined space. There was no way out. What should she do now? Feng Wu quickly ran through her options. She had to get out before the snake woke up, because she needed to find the third Ghost King, get their acknowledgement, and find the seed of the spirit source. Then, Feng Wu was still thinking when something happened. The snake sneezed. Achoo! It spat out a mouthful of flames. The flames jumped and almost covered the entire room. That intimidating power scared Feng Wu. What? She suddenly had a bad feeling. Just then, she heard a voice in her head. Yes, this is the third Ghost King, the red snake. That sounded like it was the white fairy. Feng Wu felt uneasy at first, but she felt much more reassured when she heard the white fairy's voice. The red snake? She asked. The white fairy nodded. That's right, the red snake. It may not be the most powerful one among the three of us, but it has the greatest physical strength and is unmatched in close-range combat. Feng Wu looked from her thin limbs to the giant snake which filled the entire space. 10,000 square meters. That was the size of 100 flats that were 100 square meters in size each. She moaned. How am I supposed to fight that? The white fairy fell silent as well. Feng Wu was still a level 7 spiritual elder, but this red snake. Chapter 2005, Ghost King Seal 2. Chapter 2005, Ghost King Seal 2. The three of us have agreed that none of us should interfere with each other. Therefore, I can't help you now. I can only give you a warning while it's asleep. What I want to warn you about is, Feng Wu, do you? The white fairy had never hesitated like this. What was going on? Do I what? Feng Wu hung in midair as if she was doing yoga and kept her alarmed gaze on the sleeping snake. Do you love Junlin Yuan? The white fairy suddenly asked. What? Feng Wu was confused. The white fairy changed the question. If you had to choose between love and cultivation, which would you choose? Feng Wu looked perplexed. The white fairy asked, Is it so hard to choose? Feng Wu said, I've never considered such a question before. The white fairy said, You can start considering it now. Feng Wu asked, What do you mean? The white fairy sighed. Chu Tian Xiao left me for the sake of his cultivation. When faced with such a choice, women usually choose love and men always choose their career. Feng Wu was utterly confused. Why was the white fairy asking such a question out of the blue? Feng Wu, I fed you the semi-soul pill and sent you here because I hope that you can get the seed of the spirit's source. Feng Wu was speechless. So, the white fairy was the one who had saved her. For a moment, she thought that it might have been Junlin Yuan. The pill managed to keep you alive, but because of its properties, you're considered to be half buried in the tombs. Without the seed of the spirit's source, you'll be buried here forever. You'll become one of the ghosts and never be able to get out. Feng Wu said, What? The white fairy said, Between death and half-death, I chose the latter. Will you blame me for that? Feng Wu said, Of course not. I would have done the same thing. If she died, she would have nothing. Now, she still had a chance. The white fairy said, No one could expect that Ran Mill would have such a rare treasure with her. That thing costs as much as a small nation. Someone must have gone through great lengths to find it for her. After some thought, she said in a serious tone, That's why you have to get the seed of the spirit's source. You have to, whatever the price. I don't care what you'll lose in return, because nothing is more important than your life. Feng Wu was utterly confused. She had been aiming for the seed of the spirit source from the very beginning, so, of course, she wouldn't give it up. But what would she lose? Feng Wu scratched her head and was perplexed. When she tried to talk to the white fairy again, she heard no reply. She looked down at the snake. Thump! The snake had been fast asleep a moment ago, but it had just sat up. It raised its head and stared at Feng Wu with its flaming red eyes that were bigger than Feng Wu's head. Feng Wu was astonished. She froze on the spot and couldn't move a muscle. She wondered if she was as tiny as a mosquito in the snake's eyes. Chapter 2006, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man 1. Chapter 2006, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man 1. Whit looked past her and go back to sleep. But obviously, that was wishful thinking. Right at that moment, the snake opened its giant mouth. There was no sign and no warning. It was an involuntary act, like a person swatting a mosquito. When the snake opened its mouth, its red tongue looked like a pulsing sword. Whoosh! It was aimed at Feng Wu. Feng Wu was astonished. In the face of such strength, Feng Wu was as weak as a fly. Before she could react, the forked tongue had already wrapped around her. The snake was about to swallow her whole. Her head went blank. Was she going to die? After all the hardships she had gone through, was she going to die after coming so far? In that moment of despair, ding! A figure dressed in black descended. His sky destroyer wouldn't be stopped by anything. Poof! It pierced the snake's tongue. After that, it swept through the air, pulling Feng Wu away. Feng Wu moved through the air before she fell into a pair of warm arms. Their eyes met. Feng Wu cried out, Jun Lin Yuan. What is he doing here? When she thought that she was going to die, he arrived like a god, rescuing her from an impossible situation. Jun Lin Yuan pushed Feng Wu away, and he charged at the snake. The snake is the third Ghost King. Be careful. Feng Wu reminded him. Jun Lin Yuan nodded and gave a wave of his hand. Feng Wu felt as if she was sitting inside a transparent shield. The shield looked like an egg standing up. It wasn't big, but it was enough to fit her inside. Feng Wu could just sit here and watch him fight as if she was watching a movie. No matter how fierce the battle was, she wouldn't be affected at all. Only until then did Feng Wu realize how powerful Jun Lin Yuan was. The snake was the third Ghost King and was as capable as the other two, but Jun Lin Yuan. He had the upper hand completely. 1 stance, 2 stances, 3. Before Jun Lin Yuan could use all the stances, the ferocious snake had collapsed to the ground. Feng Wu watched in astonishment. That was unbelievable. The man was invincible. That was the way Jun Lin Yuan was. No wonder so many people loved him, feared him, and found him awe-inspiring. They didn't want to part with him because he was the top cultivator of his generation. No, maybe he was one of the top cultivators even among his father's generation. After the initial shock, Feng Wu realized something important. If the third Ghost King was killed, then her Ghost King seal. At that thought, Feng Wu pounded on the protective shield. Jun Lin Yuan had wanted to finish the Ghost King off. Thump! 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 Feng Wu jumped around anxiously. Gosh, don't kill it. My Ghost King seal. My seed of the spirit source. Jun Lin Yuan glanced at Feng Wu and wondered if she was that eager to come out to see him. Whoosh! With a wave of his sleeve, the shield disappeared, and Feng Wu jumped out like a little cannonball. This girl. Heh! Jun Lin Yuan thought that Feng Wu would jump into his arms and had even raised his hands to welcome her. However, Chapter 2007, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man, 2. Chapter 2007. Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man, 2. But Feng Wu ran past him and rushed toward the snake. She took out the Ghost King seal and waved it in front of the snake's face. Spit fire. Spit fire now. As she waved the Ghost King seal in front of the snake, the third grid of the seal, which used to be gray, suddenly lit up, and the flame grew bigger. But soon, Feng Wu realized something. It remained a single flame, but the grids for the two previous Ghost Kings were completely lit up. To Feng Wu's horror, the snake slowly closed its eyes. Seeing the half-lit grid on the Ghost King seal, Feng Wu was about to collapse. What was going on? Hey, wake up! Wake up! However, the snake remained motionless. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. It's dead. Jun Lin Yuan crouched down next to Feng Wu and shrugged. Feng Wu turned around and glared at Jun Lin Yuan. How could you kill it? The Crown Prince was pleased at first, but now his face darkened. Feng Wu went on complaining. Jun Lin Yuan, do you know what you've done? You killed the snake. You killed it. The Crown Prince's face grew darker and darker. Seeing the half-finished Ghost King seal, Feng Wu was filled with despair. She waved her hand and said, Forget it. You did it to help me. I shouldn't blame you. I'm sorry about that. The Crown Prince didn't look any happier. How ungrateful. He glared at Feng Wu, covering his disappointment with anger. He stood up, put his sword back into the sheath, and turned to leave. From behind, he looked as angry as an unsheathed sword, which was about to destroy the entire place. Jun Lin Yuan was angry. Feng Wu could feel it. She could sense the chill coming off him. But she was angry as well. After everything she had gone through, 99% of the Ghost King seal was completed before everything fell apart. Jun Lin Yuan had done it to save her, so she didn't have anyone to blame. He was leaving, and she wasn't going to ask him to stay. Things were about to get worse when... Whoosh! A ball rolled out of nowhere and stopped at Jun Lin Yuan's feet. Jun Lin Yuan acted as if it wasn't there and was about to step on it. Wait! Feng Wu realized that the little ball was a small child, so she cried out and rushed over to save the child from Jun Lin Yuan. Watch where you're going. Feng Wu complained. Don't you see that it's a child? A living child. The Crown Prince's eyes were filled with both ice and fire. He glowered at Feng Wu. She was nice to everyone but him. The look confused Feng Wu. What did she say? Feng Wu, you're awful, the Crown Prince said angrily. Feng Wu was upset. I'm awful. I'm not the one who almost stomped on a child. And you're blaming me now. You're unbelievable. Chapter 2008. Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man, 3. Chapter 2008. Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man, 3. Unbelievable? Did she just call him unbelievable? The Crown Prince snorted inwardly. Can you stop fighting for a minute? The boy in Feng Wu's arm stuck out his head and spoke in a cute kid's voice. You're so childish. Hearing that accusation, Feng Wu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She then realized a serious issue. Who was this little guy? What was he doing here? What did he want? The baby boy wore a pink vest and had no pants on. His short, chubby hands looked the most adorable. What was more, he even had a half-empty milk bottle with him. The boy looked from Feng Wu to Jun Lin Yuan and seemed troubled. When he frowned, Feng Wu thought that her heart would melt. Why did you run to him? Feng Wu pointed at Jun Lin Yuan and asked the boy. Because I want to hold his thigh. The baby boy blinked and said matter-of-factly. He made it sound like the most natural thing. Ahem. Feng Wu almost choked on her own spit. She took a deep breath and was about to ask all her questions. Who are you? What are you doing here? What do you want? Why do you want to hold his thigh? Feng Wu stared at the baby boy and asked all the questions. But the boy was much more straightforward than she expected. The boy tilted his head, gave it some thought, and answered Feng Wu's question with a frown. I'm Seed, but most people know me as the Seed of the Spirit Source. Seed, the Seed of the Spirit Source. Feng Wu's head rumbled when she heard that, as if a thunderclap had just exploded in her ears. She was astonished. The Seed of the Spirit Source. You're it. You're the Seed. Feng Wu didn't expect the baby boy to be what she had been looking for this whole time. But I thought that the seed of the spirit source was a seed. That's right. My original form is a pretty amber seed, but I can change into a boy now. The boy was eager to be complimented. Feng Wu said, "All right, you're the seed, but what do you need him for?" She pointed at Jun Lin Yuan. She was the one who had the Ghost King's seal. The boy said innocently, "Because he's the most capable person here." Feng Wu felt frustrated. Because it was the truth. Feng Wu tried to persuade Seed. But the seed of the spirit's source doesn't go to the most capable person. It should belong to the one who completed the task, right? The boy gave Feng Wu a strange look, as if she was an idiot. Feng Wu was speechless. Was she wrong? He finished the task. The boy nodded. Feng Wu was astonished. How was that even possible? When did that happen? Feng Wu stared at the boy in astonishment. Chapter 2009, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man 4. Chapter 2009, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man 4. The boy said, "Just then." Feng Wu said, "But he only defeated the third Ghost King." The boy said, "No, that was the third one he defeated." Feng Wu didn't know what to think now. Jun Lin Yuan, Feng Wu stared at Jun Lin Yuan with wide open eyes. Her voice trembled when she asked, Did you defeat the first two Ghost Kings?" Jun Lin Yuan crossed his arms and raised his chin. He refused to answer that question. Feng Wu jumped to her feet, rushed over to Jun Lin Yuan, and grabbed his long arm. She asked, Jun Lin Yuan, tell me, did you really beat up the other two Ghost Kings?" Jun Lin Yuan gave her a condescending look and smirked. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Why was Jun Lin Yuan acting up again in a critical moment like this? She was so frustrated. "Your Royal Highness, Brother Jun, my dearest." Feng Wu grabbed Jun Lin Yuan's sleeve and pleaded with her eyes. "Please tell me, did you really complete the task?" Feng Wu's soft voice sounded very calming. It seemed to melt the ice in his heart, and he didn't look so angry anymore. The task. The Crown Prince glanced at Feng Wu and asked, "Why should I be bothered with some task? Am I so weak to you?" Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Why did it make him weak? Why did he have to be so arrogant? Of course, Feng Wu didn't dare say that out loud. She didn't dare let him hear it. Feng Wu smiled brightly, showing her white teeth. "Your Royal Highness, you're so awesome. With your ability, why do you have to do the task? Did you do it without knowing about it? For instance, did you run into someone wearing a black robe? Are you talking about a very big face?" Jun Lin Yuan frowned. "Yes, and he has this smug smile. He's moody, and he's a great cultivator. He's unbelievably powerful and can trick whomever he wants. Did you really run into him?" Feng Wu's eyes glimmered. The Crown Prince frowned and shook his head. "You didn't see him?" Feng Wu asked. The Crown Prince said, "I did." Feng Wu said, "Then why did you shake your head?" The Crown Prince asked, "Are you sure that he's as powerful as you described?" Feng Wu asked, "Is he not?" Jun Lin Yuan gave it some thought and said seriously, 3 moves. Feng Wu asked what? Jun Lin Yuan gave Feng Wu an arrogant glance. Feng Wu was astonished. "Are you saying that the black-robed Ghost King couldn't withstand more than 3 stances from you?" Feng Wu was astonished. "Yes, that's what I meant." Feng Wu said, "You." Jun Lin Yuan was confused. Feng Wu had to keep taking deep breaths. Otherwise, she might faint. But her heart was still racing. Chapter 2010, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man 5. Chapter 2010, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man 5. That was why Jun Lin Yuan snorted when Feng Wu mentioned the black-robed Ghost King. As it turned out, the Ghost King couldn't even withstand 3 strikes from him. The Ghost King was so domineering in front of her and seemed to be able to determine her fate, but he was no match for Jun Lin Yuan at all. Feng Wu was having a difficult time digesting that piece of information. "So, did you kill him?" Feng Wu asked gingerly. Jun Lin Yuan glanced at her. "Do you want him to die?" He drew out his sword and was ready to go. Feng Wu's stomach lurched, and she grabbed Jun Lin Yuan. "No, I don't. He hasn't done anything to me, and he actually took my side in the end." The black-robed Ghost King had no idea that this decision had saved his life. Jun Lin Yuan frowned a little. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. You really don't have to do that. Feng Wu shook her head and wouldn't let go of Jun Lin Yuan. She feared that he would kill the Ghost King with one slash of his sword. However, Feng Wu was genuinely astonished. Even Ranmil, Master Ju, and the seventh prince had to follow the black-robed Ghost King's instructions. To Jun Lin Yuan, the Ghost King was someone he could easily kill. Feng Wu found it unfair. Jun Lin Yuan's talent made other talented people, such as herself, seem so mediocre. Ranmil and Master Ju were already outstanding cultivators of their generation, but compared with Jun Lin Yuan, that's so unfair. Jun Lin Yuan, you're a giant system bug. Feng Wu stared at him. The Crown Prince looked at Feng Wu, and there was a confused look in his cold eyes. Bug? What do you mean? He asked with a frown. What was a bug? Feng Wu chuckled and waved her hand. It's nothing. That's my new nickname for you. You're as tough as a bug. Jun Lin Yuan glanced at her, crossed his arms, and remarked indifferently, That's a terrible nickname. Feng Wu said, Well, let's not digress. You said that you beat up the Black Robe Ghost King, right? Are you calling that thing a king? Jun Lin Yuan rolled his eyes at Feng Wu. Are you stupid? Feng Wu said, Fine, the Black Robe Ghost. You beat up the little black-robed ghost, right? Yes. The Crown Prince found that name acceptable. Feng Wu asked, When did that happen? Jun Lin Yuan said, 15 minutes ago. Feng Wu asked, Why didn't I hear anything? Jun Lin Yuan glanced at her. Why should I make any sound? Feng Wu said, Fine. I know how awesome you are already. So, after beating up the black-robed ghost, did you beat up the white fairy as well? Jun Lin Yuan asked, Do you mean a flying old woman in a white dress? An old woman? Feng Wu almost choked on her own spit. The white fairy was indeed old, going by her real age, but Jun Lin Yuan didn't have to be so mean. Did you beat her up? Feng Wu asked nervously. Jun Lin Yuan said, She was in my way. Feng Wu asked gingerly, So, did you hit her? Chapter 2011 Jun Lin Yuan the Difficult Man, 6. Chapter 2011 Jun Lin Yuan the Difficult Man, 6. Jun Lin Yuan shook his head and said, She made way for me. Feng Wu said, If she made way for you, it means that she acknowledged your capability. In that case, you gained all 3 Ghost Kings recognition. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead and said, That is to say, you finished the task without knowing it existed. She heaved a long sigh and gave Jun Lin Yuan an indescribable look. Jun Lin Yuan looked quite innocent. What? Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She should hate Jun Lin Yuan because he had sabotaged her plan. But it was just as he said. He couldn't even be bothered to do the task, and had finished it just like that. She just couldn't bring herself to be mad at him. Feng Wu frowned and felt conflicted. Jun Lin Yuan asked, Are you angry? Feng Wu looked up and said weakly, No, I'm not. Jun Lin Yuan raised her chin with his long fingers. Yes, you are. Feng Wu brushed his hand off. No, I'm not. The Crown Prince didn't like the way she refused to communicate with him. Yes, you're angry. Feng Wu said, I'm not angry. I want to kill you. She exploded like a volcano. Do you know how hard I worked to get the seed of the spirit source? It was so hard to gain the White Fairy's recognition. And I tried so hard to defeat Ranmil's chosen team. After everything I've done and all the dangers I went through, I thought that my hard work would be repaid. But what did I get? You've sabotaged my task. And the most frustrating thing is that you didn't do it on purpose. You don't even know what happened. Feng Wu pointed at Jun Lin Yuan. Before you showed up, I always found myself to be the lucky one, the blessed, and the biggest genius. But then you came along. Feng Wu glared at Jun Lin Yuan. After you showed up, I became a mere supporting character, one that you pick on all the time. The coldness in Jun Lin Yuan's eyes began to disappear as he listened to Feng Wu's accusations. His eyes shone like obsidian stones. One would never expect that the unapproachable Crown Prince would one day be capable of bursting out in a laughter. Stop laughing. Feng Wu couldn't believe it. She felt so miserable, but he was laughing. Moreover, she had been condemning him. Why would someone as short-tempered as he was laugh now? Jun Lin Yuan, why are you laughing? Feng Wu stomped her foot. Ha 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 ha. The angrier she got, the brighter Jun Lin Yuan's smile was. He found her adorable. The way she stomped her foot and complained almost melted his heart. Therefore, Jun Lin Yuan laughed wholeheartedly for the first time in his life. Feng Wu said, Jun Lin Yuan, laugh again and I'll never talk to you again. Chapter 2012, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man, 7. Chapter 2012, Jun Lin Yuan, the Difficult Man, 7. Did he find her so laughable? Like a fool. You little fool. Ah. The young crown prince pulled the girl into his arms. Feng Wu was still young, and next to Jun Lin Yuan, she looked like a little girl. Her chin was only at the level of Jun Lin Yuan's chest. He was 30 centimeters taller than her. That was said to be the most ideal difference. Jun Lin Yuan laughed as he patted Feng Wu's head. Feng Wu was so frustrated. Little fool. He had humiliated her after he won. She wouldn't stand for it. She stepped hard on Jun Lin Yuan's foot. To her surprise, Jun Lin Yuan laughed even louder. What was wrong with him? But laughter was contagious. As Jun Lin Yuan laughed, Feng Wu's anger slowly faded as well. She had to admit that Jun Lin Yuan was unbelievably handsome when he laughed. He was a good-looking man with exquisite features, but he usually felt so unapproachable and intimidating. Because of that, his laughter felt strange. His smile was so pure and bright that it made her heart skip a beat. Wait. Feng Wu pressed her hands to her chest and felt her heart racing. This wasn't right. Feng Wu shook her head and got rid of that thought. She convinced herself that Jun Lin Yuan was no one to her. Little fool. Jun Lin Yuan didn't know what Feng Wu was thinking. He patted her on the head as if he was petting a puppy. It's just the seed of the spirit source. I'll give it to you. You're so stingy. After that, he waved at the baby boy with the milk bottle. He was kind and patient with Feng Wu, but when he looked at the baby boy, his face was cold and emotionless. Did you hear all that? Jun Lin Yuan asked succinctly. That look was so frightening that Seed was almost in tears. Yes, I did. He nodded repeatedly. Jun Lin Yuan said, all right. But the baby boy still tried to protest. But the crown prince looked as majestic as a king and gave the baby boy a cold look. The baby boy immediately burst into tears. But you finished the task first. Jun Lin Yuan frowned. Which of my words did you not understand? The baby boy shook his head, then nodded. He was scared of tears and trembled all over. Feng Wu didn't like it. She pushed Jun Lin Yuan away. You're so scary. Seed is crying. Seed almost cried again. Would the big brother hit Sister Xiao Wu? To Seed's amazement, the cold-faced brother didn't get angry at Sister Xiao Wu. He only grumbled. Feng Wu pushed Jun Lin Yuan away, walked up to Seed, crouched down next to him, and looked him in the eye. Seed, don't cry. I won't let him do anything to you. Feng Wu rubbed his head. Don't worry. He won't hit you. Chapter 2013, The Romance 1. Chapter 2013, The Romance 1. Seed burst into tears. Are you sure you want to give me the seed? Feng Wu asked Jun Lin Yuan in a serious tone. Jun Lin Yuan said, why would I care about some random seed? Some random seed. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. It was the seed of the spirit source he was talking about. That was something everyone else desperately wanted. Ranmil had been trying to get it at the cost of losing her cultivation. And Master Zhu gave up on taking revenge for the man he loved. And there was the second prince. Everyone had been fighting tooth and nail for it, but to Jun Lin Yuan, it was just some random seed. Gosh, the difference between people is just so huge. Your reaction makes us, who fought hard for it, feel like fools, Feng Wu said in frustration. Aren't you? The crown prince raised his eyebrows. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She threw a dirty look at Jun Lin Yuan. I don't want to talk to you. The crown prince looked at Feng Wu in confusion. Feng Wu said, as soon as you speak, I feel like a fool. The crown prince smiled a little. He only smiled, but the room felt like it was filled with sunlight. Feng Wu kicked around some small rocks and mumbled, "This world is so unfair. I'm so mad." Jun Linyuan raised his hand and rubbed Feng Wu's head. Feng Wu looked up and snorted at Jun Linyuan. She then crouched down and tried to calm the baby down. "Sweetheart, did you hear that?" Feng Wu whispered. "Did you hear his tone? He called you a random seed. That's not very nice, is it? Look at me." Feng Wu blinked at Seed. "I tried everything I could to find you. I'll cherish you. You'll pick me, right?" Seed bit his lower lip and frowned. He felt conflicted. Feng Wu said seriously, "You'll pick me, right? Once we're out, I'll treat you with some very yummy food." But the baby boy cried, "I feel that I have to go to the big brother." Seed pointed at his legs as he spoke. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. The baby said between broken sobs, "I try to stop myself, but my legs won't listen to me." Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Seed said, "There's a rule in my head after I came into the world." Feng Wu suddenly had a very bad feeling. Seed said, "I can only choose the most talented cultivator. I can't compromise." Feng Wu felt even more frustrated. She shouldn't have asked the question. Every time the boy spoke, it felt like someone was slapping her. Feng Wu crouched down and wrapped her arms around her knees. She raised her head and gave Jun Linyuan an aggrieved look. She found Jun Linyuan so annoying. Why did she have to live in the same time period as him? But from Jun Linyuan's point of view, the way she crouched on the ground looked so adorable. Chapter 2014, The Romance 2. Chapter 2014, The Romance 2. How could someone be so adorable? The willful crown prince crouched down and put his hand on Feng Wu's head. Feng Wu snorted and looked away. She didn't want to look at him. The sight of him upset her. Jun Linyuan looked at the grumpy girl in resignation and poked her plump cheek with a finger. Her soft skin felt amazing to the touch. He went on poking Feng Wu's face and couldn't stop himself. Feng Wu felt frustrated. What an annoying man. He was doing this to her because she couldn't fight back. Feng Wu glowered at Jun Linyuan. Her pouting lips looked so tender and juicy that he wanted to take a bite. Jun Linyuan bent down. But before he could get what he wanted, Feng Wu decided that she had enough. She wanted to bite Jun Linyuan, but he caught her chin and she couldn't do it. Infuriated, Feng Wu tried to bump her head against Jun Linyuan. Thump! Her head knocked into Jun Linyuan's chest. Other people would have stumbled back and fallen to the ground. But it was Jun Linyuan. Therefore, when Feng Wu knocked her head into him like a young calf, the crown prince remained unmoved. Feng Wu, on the other hand, the pain brought tears to her eyes. Why was this man's chest so hard? Feng Wu realized that nothing she did could hurt Jun Linyuan, and he could do whatever he wanted to her, while she could do nothing but stare at him. But when he saw how angry she was, he smiled as brightly as a regular teenager. The more frustrated Feng Wu was, the louder he laughed. She grabbed his arm and bit down on it. "It tickles." Jun Linyuan stopped her with his right hand. "You're going to break your teeth." Feng Wu was astonished. There was nothing she could do to him. "Jun Linyuan, you're unbelievable." Feng Wu rose to her feet and condemned him. The crown prince said innocently, "What did I do?" Feng Wu stomped her foot in frustration. "I'll only hurt myself when I hit you, knock you with my head, or bite you. You're the worst." Jun Linyuan laughed. Frustrated, Feng Wu turned to leave. Jun Linyuan stopped her and pulled her into his arms. Thump! Feng Wu's nose knocked into Jun Linyuan's chest, and it almost gave her a nosebleed. Jun Linyuan rubbed her head. "You're such a funny girl." Feng Wu glared at him. Jun Linyuan said, "All right, I won't tease you anymore. If you want this seed, you can have it." Feng Wu crossed her arms and said coldly, "You can't give it to me just like that. Didn't you hear the boy? He'll only choose the most talented person." The crown prince gave Feng Wu a half smile. "So, you admit that I'm more talented than you. Wasn't that obvious?" But if she said yes, Jun Linyuan would only be more pleased. Chapter 2015, The Romance 3. Chapter 2015, The Romance 3. "No, I won't." Feng Wu snorted. June Linyuan patted her head. Neither will I. Feng Wu stared at him in confusion. June Linyuan stopped smiling and turned to stare at the seed of the spirit source. His eyes were so cold that they reminded one of an iceberg tens of thousands of years old. The baby boy was almost scared to tears. He didn't understand it. How could the same person smile so happily one moment and then look so scary the next? Were there two people living in the big brother's body? He looked like such a fiend now. He looked so scary. Choose her now, June Linyuan said coldly. I waiver my right. The baby boy bit his lower lip and kicked some small stones around. He remembered that when the big sister did this, the big brother looked so kind. If he did the same thing, he thought that the big brother would change his attitude. But he soon learned that he was wrong in assuming that. Thump! June Linyuan pushed the boy. The baby immediately fell to the ground. Ouch! The baby nearly cried. That hurt. Feng Wu wanted to go help the boy, but June Linyuan waved his hand, and even Feng Wu didn't dare defy him. The crown prince turned the boy down. I don't want you. Are you going to nag me now? The baby was scared to tears and kept shaking his head. The crown prince didn't feel that he had done anything wrong. He always got what he wanted. Cut the crap. Just tell me, can you do it or not? The crown prince had a murderous look in his eyes. His hands were already on the baby's neck. Feng Wu's eyes almost popped out. Did this man know no sympathy? How could he treat such a lovely baby boy like that? Only then did the baby realize something. It didn't work when he copied what Sister Xiaowu did. Why? Speak. The crown prince was ready to snap his neck. Yes, I can. After figuring out what he was facing, the baby threw his hands up in the air and said, We can try something, but what? Feng Wu asked. She had to have a seed of the spirit source. The baby looked at Feng Wu and sighed. The two of you will sit on either side of me and compete for the seed of the spirit source. Since Brother Jun doesn't want it, please help me in sending it to Sister Xiao Wu's Dantian. That should do the trick. Should? June Linyuan frowned. The baby said, It's the seed's instinct to follow Brother Jun, so it'll be a little difficult trying to push it in his sister Xiao Wu's body. Other than that, everything should be fine. How sure are you about this? Feng Wu frowned and asked. The baby looked up in resignation. No one has ever turned down the seed of the spirit source. Do you know what the odds are of finding it? Feng Wu scratched her head. The boy was right. Chapter 2016, The Romance 4. Chapter 2016, The Romance 4. Won't there be side effects? Feng Wu asked. The baby boy raised both hands. No, there won't. I promise. Plus, it's the only way. June Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu. What do you think? Feng Wu bit her lower lip. The seed of the spirit source was essential to her, but redundant for June Linyuan, since at his cultivation level, the seed couldn't help him advance any further. Therefore, if she had the chance, she had to have it. I want to give it a try, Feng Wu said seriously. If I don't try, there's no hope at all. But if I give a shot, what if I succeed? She never gave up on anything without trying first. She was always willing to take the chance. All right, June Linyuan rubbed her head with such a gentle look on his face. If you want it, I'll give it to you. His gaze was so intense that as soon as Feng Wu looked into his eyes, her heart began to race. She felt heat in her cheeks and looked away. Even if it works, it's because the seed is supposed to be mine. Feng Wu rested her hands on her waist and glared at June Linyuan. Let's make that clear first. June Linyuan said mildly, Of course. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She was used to June Linyuan's indifference, and his sudden kindness just felt so strange. To prevent unnecessary complications, Feng Wu suggested that they proceed with the transfer of the seed right away. June Linyuan still said good-temperedly, All right. What? Feng Wu fanned her face with her hands because her cheeks felt hot. Why was it so hot here? Soon they both sat down. The baby boy sat in the middle. Feng Wu exhaled, emptying her lungs. She would only have one shot at this. Faint spiritual essence began to fill the air around them. Feng Wu soon sensed the seed of the spirit source inside the baby boy. It felt like a tiny flame the size of a pea, and it seemed that the lightest wind would be able to put it out. It was almost too scary to look at. It began to come out. With Jun Linyuan's protection, the seed of the spirit source moved out of the baby boy's body along his energy channels. It finally came out of his finger and entered Feng Wu. Everything went smoothly. Feng Wu took a deep breath. Soon, she would become a spiritual lord. She would be capable enough to fight Zhuo Qingwan, and she would be able to turn everything around. In this world which valued martial prowess, power was everything. Feng Wu was filled with all kinds of exciting ideas when something happened. She felt her energy channels tremble violently. What on earth was going on here? It reminded her of the sudden turbulence in the tombs earlier. There was no way for her to fight it back. Feng Wu was filled with despair. Jun Linyuan intervened just in time and suppressed all the turbulence by force. Feng Wu sighed in relief. But before she could relax, something suddenly happened. Thump, thump, thump. Something else stirred inside her. The baby boy felt pain surging through his body, and something exploded. Chapter 2017, The Romance 5. Chapter 2017, The Romance 5. The explosion happened so suddenly that even Jun Linyuan didn't have time to react. But when he did, he frowned. Shit, someone had set them up. Who did it? They had injected a neurotoxin into the seed of the spiritual source and injected it into Feng Wu through the baby boy. They wanted to kill her. It hurts. Feng Wu sat down cross-legged. She trembled violently, and sweat soaked through her clothes. Her face was drained of all color. Thump! It was as if something had exploded in her head. Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan began to suck the toxin into his body as fast as he could manage. One had to admit that Jun Linyuan was terrifyingly powerful. But at the same time, he was still a young cultivator and wasn't as experienced. Moreover, the person that had prepared this toxin was definitely someone at least on Jun Linyuan's level. Hence, rumble. Jun Linyuan was only in time to protect Feng Wu's mind with his spiritual essence. The toxin soon traveled all over Feng Wu's body, and the explosion went on and on. Thump! Feng Wu, Jun Linyuan, and the baby boy all fell into the abyss of unconsciousness. With Jun Linyuan's capability, he wouldn't have fainted, but he had forced his spiritual form out of his body and entered Feng Wu's body to protect her mind from being destroyed. If her mind was destroyed, she really would become a cripple. It took Feng Wu forever to wake up. Her eyelashes quivered, and she slowly opened her eyes. What? She had a very strange feeling. She remembered that something had exploded inside her before she passed out, and it wasn't something she could handle, but she didn't feel like she was in much pain. Moreover, she felt unlimited power inside her. What was going on? When she looked down, she was astonished. Rumble. She felt as if she had been struck by lightning. No. This couldn't be real. She had to be dreaming. She was still asleep. She had to be. Feng Wu shut her eyes and forced herself to go to sleep. But how could she possibly sleep when something so terrifying had happened? She forced herself to calm down and open her eyes a little. She looked down from her chest, her hands, her tummy, and all the way down. At the end, thump! Feng Wu wished that she could pass out right there and then. This couldn't be happening. This can't be real. Oh God. When Feng Wu spoke, she finally realized what a ridiculous thing had happened. That voice. It was a cold and emotionless male voice. Why did she sound like that? It was Jun Linyuan's voice. What on earth had happened? Why was she like this? If this was a dream, it was such a horrible one. Something else then occurred to her, and she turned her head. A person lay next to her. It was a girl in a red dress, and she couldn't look any more familiar. Of course it looked familiar. She had been seeing that face in the mirror for over a decade. Chapter 2018, The Romance 6. Chapter 2018, The Romance 6. How would one feel when they woke up to find themselves lying next to their own body? That was how Feng Wu felt right now. To be frank, it was very scary. Hey, wake up. Wake up now. Feng Wu pounced at her own body and started shaking it violently. She was so shocked that her knuckles had gone white. Feng Wu suddenly opened her eyes. What pair of eyes? They looked as cold as bottomless pits. You're awake. The crown prince studied his own body and found the situation rather awkward. Jun Linyuan? Feng Wu drew in a breath. Jun Linyuan coughed violently and looked ghastly pale. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. It really is you. Feng Wu didn't know how to describe her feelings now. She stared at Jun Linyuan. Yes. Pressing his hands against his dantian, Jun Linyuan slowly sat up. He immediately frowned in pain. That slight movement was already too much of a burden for this body. Feng Wu sighed in relief when she found out that Jun Linyuan was the one who had taken her body, but she immediately asked, "How did this happen? Why did we?" Jun Linyuan looked at Feng Wu and shook his head. Feng Wu whined. "How can you be so calm? Aren't you shocked at all?" "Shocked?" Jun Linyuan asked, "Why should I be?" Feng Wu said, "We've switched bodies. I'm in your body, and you're in mine. Aren't you even a little bit surprised?" The crown prince was as calm as ever. "I see." He then added, "I did it." "What?" That was even more shocking than the exchange itself. "What did you say?" "You did it. You switched our bodies?" "Why? What do you want?" Feng Wu was normally very calm herself, but what had happened was beyond her imagination, and she was still dumbfounded. She was still trembling. "You're so loud." Jun Linyuan started coughing as soon as he tried to move. Blood came out of his mouth. Seeing herself coughing violently, Feng Wu was very concerned. She helped Jun Linyuan up and sat him down by a pillar. She then checked her pulse. It was... Feng Wu's eyes widened in disbelief. "My energy channels are almost all broken. Apart from my mental space, everything feels like they've been hit by a hurricane." "How?" "It's a potent neurotoxin, and it has a special name. Magic Soul Vine." Jun Linyuan coughed so hard that his cheeks flushed. "Magic Soul Vine. How did it get into my body?" Feng Wu finally calmed down and murmured, "So, when the explosion started, your spiritual form entered my body and protected my mental space. Meanwhile, you switched our bodies because you knew that my mind couldn't withstand the magic soul vine. You were worried that I could die." Feng Wu didn't know what else to say. Chapter 2019, The Romance 7. Chapter 2019, The Romance 7. You switched our bodies because you knew that my mind couldn't withstand the magic soul vine. You were worried that I could die. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan snorted and started coughing again. Feng Wu felt both guilty and shocked. But she soon calmed down. She wrapped her arms around her knees and looked at Jun Linyuan with her bright eyes. "I shouldn't have blamed you. I owe you thanks. If it wasn't for you, I would be in a coma by now. If we didn't switch bodies with my physical injuries, there's no way I could have withstood the toxin. Jun Linyuan, you saved my life and enabled me to keep cultivating in this world, which values power above anything else. How can I blame you for anything?" Moreover, Jun Linyuan had single-handedly switched their souls. Feng Wu couldn't imagine how capable he had to be to do something like that. While Feng Wu sat there, Jun Linyuan closed his eyes and activated the little spiritual source he could gather and started repairing the body. He could do it much faster than Feng Wu could. Feng Wu then realized a very serious problem. Now that she and Jun Linyuan had switched bodies, he would discover all her secrets. There were so many of them. Her beautiful master, Little Phoenix, the fairy, and he would see every inch of her body. And what would happen when they needed to take a bath? Oh God, the thought almost made Feng Wu jump up. At the same time, while Feng Wu was dealing with her own issue inside the tombs, something else was happening outside. Rammel's reputation couldn't be ruined over one incident. At least, most people chose to believe her now. Feng Sun was so angry. He shouted, "Don't listen to her bullshit. I swear that I've never been in love with her. Why should I hate her for being turned down? Ranmil simply ignored him. However, before she could say anything else, Feng Yinfeng stepped out. Being an opportunist, he wouldn't waste such a good chance. He forced out a few tears and said to Emperor Wu, "Your Majesty, Xiao Wu is the most promising girl of my clan, but Princess Ranmil has just killed her. Please help us." Everyone gave him strange looks. Feng Yinfeng couldn't wait to see Feng Wu dead earlier, but now he was making such claims when he saw that he could benefit from it. The man had no principles at all. Ranmil frowned. "You are Princess Ranmil. I'm Feng Wu's uncle. Although you're a princess, you have to take responsibility for Xiao Wu's death." Ranmil said, "You're the brother of Feng Wu's father, then?" Feng Yinfeng said, "Naturally." Ranmil asked, "Then who's Feng Lu to you?" Feng Yinfeng frowned. "She's my daughter." "Why?" The look on Ranmil's face was very strange now. "Are you sure you want to settle this account for Feng Wu?" Chapter 2020, The Romance 8. Chapter 2020, The Romance 8. Princess Ranmil, you're not. However, Ranmil waved him off before he could speak again. "Master Feng, has no one told you anything about what happened to Feng Lu?" Feng Yinfeng's stomach lurched. "Feng Lu? What about her?" Feng Iran and Feng Sang turned very pale. Ranmil smirked. "So, as her father, you still don't know that Feng Lu is already dead." "What?" Everyone was shocked by the news. "What did you say? Lu is—" "No, that's impossible." Feng Yinfeng felt as if a thunderclap had exploded over his head. Feng Lu was dead. A lot of people were shocked. They knew who Feng Lu was because she would pick on Feng Wu whenever she had a chance, which made everyone remember her. It never occurred to them that she could be dead. How is this possible? How? She's lying, isn't she? Lady Wang ran out from behind Feng Yinfeng and grabbed Feng Sang's arm. She shook her so hard that Feng Sang thought she would fall into pieces. "Say something. Tell me where your sister is. Where's she?" Lady Wang was dumbfounded. Tears rolled down Feng Sang's cheeks, and she gritted her teeth. "Princess Ranmil is right. Lu is dead. Feng Wu didn't have to, but she—" "It was Feng Wu." Feng Yiran took a deep breath to fight back his tears and said loudly, "It was Feng Wu. She forced Xiao Lu over the cliff. She got Lu killed." "That's impossible." Lady Northern Feng had finally come back to her senses by then and almost jumped to her feet. "No, Xiao would never do that." Feng Yiran stared at her. Many people were there, and they all saw it. After she won the game, she forced Lu to jump off the cliff. They all can testify to that. Dugaming, she said, "I'll testify." Sapphiro said, "Me too." After that, everyone believed that Feng Wu was the culprit. But Lady Northern Feng wouldn't have it. "I can testify that Feng Wu isn't the type who would kill innocent people or her family. If she really forced Feng Lu to jump off a cliff, Feng Lu must have done something worse to her. Maybe Feng Lu tried to kill her first." But Lady Northern Feng was by herself, and Feng Wu had so many enemies. Therefore, her voice was soon drowned out. "A Feng Wu, I'm going to kill you!" Lady Wang screamed. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore and fainted. Mrs. Zhua then spoke up. "Gosh, this Feng Wu just keeps getting people killed." Mrs. Dugu said, "You don't say. The Feng clan is so unfortunate to have someone like her." Mrs. Zhua said, "I knew all along that Feng Wu was never a good kid. She was so cold when she was little. And now, she has no heart." Mrs. Dugu said, "Luckily, our children don't hang out with her. She would be such a bad influence." Chapter 2021, The Romance 9. Chapter 2021, The Romance 9. "That's right," Mrs. Zhua said. "Qingyu never found her a worthy companion." Speaking of Qingyu, Mrs. Zhua suddenly realized something. "Why don't I see her?" She then had a bad feeling. "And I haven't seen Qingxian either. Where are they?" Mrs. Dugu was perplexed. "Yamo, Mengshi, you came out together. Did you see Qingyu and Qingxian?" Mrs. Dugu asked her two children. That question, Dugamungshi and Dugayamo didn't know how to answer them. Dugayamo turned to leave. Dugamungshi was slower and was stopped by his mother. Mungshi, where are your cousins? Somehow, Mrs. Wu felt uneasy. The blow was so hard that Dugamungshi had yet to recover from it. How was he supposed to tell his aunt? Aunt, stop asking. Dugamungshi shook Mrs. Wu's hand off and turned to leave. Mrs. Wu felt even more uneasy. She rushed over and grabbed Dugamungshi. Stop right there. Tell me, where are Qingyu and Qingxian? Where did they go? Dugamungshi said, Aunt, I can't. Mrs. Wu had an ominous feeling. Speak. Dugamungshi took a deep breath. Well, if you insist, I didn't want to tell you. So, are you ready to hear it? Mungshi, stop dawdling. Just tell your aunt where Qingyu and Qingxian are. Can't you tell that your aunt is worried sick? Mrs. Dugu scolded Dugamungshi. Dugamungshi said, Mom, how am I supposed to tell her that both of my cousins are dead? Mrs. Wu felt like she had been struck by lightning. Wanwa, wanwa. No matter how loud Mrs. Dugu yelled, Mrs. Wu remained unconscious. Everyone panicked. It was simply too much for Mrs. Wu. By then, someone had already dashed off to get Master Wu. How? How did this happen? Mrs. Dugu stared at Dugamungshi. What's going on? How did they die? Master Wu arrived at that moment and asked, What happened to Qingyu and Qingxian? Say something. Mrs. Wu woke up at that moment. Master. She burst into tears when she saw her husband. They said that Qingyu and Qingxian are dead. Oh, God. Master was swayed. His vision went dark, and he almost fainted. The others immediately steadied him. How? Why? Who did this? Who killed him? It was Feng Wu. Recalling what happened to Feng Lu, Dugamungshi blurted out the words. Dugamungshi grew anxious. She kicked Dugamungshi and said, You don't know that. Don't make things up. Dugamungshi didn't dare speak a word after that. But both Master Wu and Mrs. Wu heard him. What did you say? Feng Wu, tell me, what happened? They rushed to Dugamungshi's side and grabbed his arms. Chapter 2022, The Romance 10. Chapter 2022, The Romance 10. Dugamungshi looked at Dugayamo in resignation. He then turned to them and said, Zhuqingyu died first. Zhuqingxian said that Feng Wu killed her. The second prince was there as well, so I think he'll know about it. As for Zhuqingxian, Dugamungshi smiled bitterly. Zhuqingxian tried to kill Feng Wu, and to save her, Feng Sun killed Zhuqingxian. Both Master Wu and Mrs. Wu went pale with grief and anger. Just then, they heard a tiny rumbling sound outside. That's the sign of someone making a breakthrough, said Dugayamo. It happened all the time, so no one thought much about it. But as soon as she said that, there was the sound again. Has someone made 2 breakthroughs in a row? Dugayamo was amazed. Just then, she heard something outside. Feng Wu's little maid just made 2 breakthroughs in a row. Please don't tell me that she has the legendary seed of the spirit source. What? If the seed hadn't been mentioned, the others wouldn't be so shocked. Whoosh! Everyone headed in the direction that the fluctuation had come from. Chilling had been carried out by Feng Sun himself, and had been lying by his feet all this time. Feng Sun and Ranmil had been fighting, but the unexpected breakthrough attracted all their attention. Even now, Chilling was still unconscious. She was a level 1 spiritual grandmaster at first, but now she was already a level 3 spiritual grandmaster. Everyone was watching her, and they were all surprised and full of expectations. She didn't disappoint them. She made another breakthrough. Shit, she's level 4 now. It's only been 15 minutes, but she's made 3 breakthroughs already. How can that happen? Do you think she found the seed of the spirit source? Isn't it supposed to be able to raise one by a whole stage? She only made 3 breakthroughs. That's a lot less than a whole stage. Moreover, she's just a maid. If all the geniuses couldn't get it, how could she? But did all those geniuses make 3 breakthroughs in a row? As they spoke, Chilling was once again surrounded by dense spiritual essence, which eventually flowed into her body through her nose. Everyone was speechless. Rumble. Chilling made another breakthrough. OMG. What? It's not what we think, is it? Look, it happened so easily. It's like she's making a breakthrough in her dreams. The seed of the spirit source. Is it really? Look, the spiritual essence has gathered around her again. Buzz. There were two sounds. The onlookers held their breaths, afraid of waking her up. She's a level 6 spiritual grandmaster. Shit, it's happening again. She's a level 7 spiritual grandmaster. Level 8 now. She's a spiritual elder now. Xiaoling's progress was so fast that even Emperor Wu heard about it. One could only imagine how many people would want to have Xiaoling on their team. Feng Wu had no idea what was going on outside. Right now, all her attention was focused on Jun Linyuan. But Jun Linyuan was doing all he could to repair her damaged body, and didn't say a word to Feng Wu. Everything was fine, but would Jun Linyuan find out about her beautiful master? She was so nervous. Chapter 2023, The Romance 11. Chapter 2023, The Romance 11. Just then, Jun Linyuan slowly opened his eyes. Feng Wu stared at him nervously. You're awake. It was quite strange to look at her own face, but think of it as Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan glanced at her. Yes. Feng Wu swallowed and said, well, what? Jun Linyuan frowned. All Feng Wu could think of was her beautiful master, so she cut to the chase and said, Jun Linyuan, can you feel anything? Like what? He asked. Feng Wu said, well, like something in my mind, such as my spiritual pets. Feng Wu had tried to summon Little Phoenix, but the bird gave her no response. Jun Linyuan glanced at her. Feng Wu asked what? Jun Linyuan said, are you talking about that little bird? Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Jun Linyuan had discovered Little Phoenix. What about her beautiful master? The beautiful master was her biggest secret. It would be more dangerous for the beautiful master if one more person knew about his existence. Seeing how nervous Feng Wu was, Jun Linyuan cleared his throat. Feng Wu asked nervously, that little bird, right? How is it? Jun Linyuan rose to his feet. Feng Wu followed him. Hey, Jun Linyuan, say something. The crown prince only glanced at Feng Wu and kept walking. Feng Wu shouted, Jun Linyuan. He stopped by the bronze door and gestured at it. Open it. Feng Wu said innocently, I'm not good enough to do that. Jun Linyuan found her claim idiotic. Are you sure about that? Feng Wu said. Jun Linyuan said, you're using my body now, and you're saying that you're not good enough. Feng Wu cleared her throat uneasily. Jun Linyuan said, open it. Feng Wu said, well, how do I use your power? Jun Linyuan gave her some instructions and said, concentrate the spiritual essence in your palm and exert all of it in one go. Before he could say anything else, something rumbled. Bang! The ferocious power hit the bronze door, making it rumble. The strike was too quick and too fierce. Rumble! The door flew off. Rumble! The entire building shook violently, and stones and sand started falling down. The crown prince gave Feng Wu a strange look. Feng Wu returned his gaze with an innocent look of her own. Jun Linyuan grabbed Feng Wu and started running. Let's go. But Feng Wu's injuries were too severe. Even with Jun Linyuan's efforts, he could only repair the heart and lungs and was barely keeping her body alive. As for her cultivation, he didn't have time for that. As soon as Jun Linyuan started moving, he coughed violently. Feng Wu looked at her hand in surprise. I barely used any strength. Why did that door fly off? Chapter 2024, The Romance 12. Chapter 2024, The Romance 12. Jun Linyuan glanced at her. Feng Wu said, did I really do that? Jun Linyuan said, you destroyed this building as well. Feng Wu said, that's so scary. I can't control this power. Jun Linyuan said, if you keep acting so astonished, we'll both die here. Feng Wu said, yes. Right? She immediately started running, but she realized that something wasn't right after a few steps and looked over her shoulder. Jun Linyuan was looking at her with a strange look on his face. She smacked her head. How could she be so stupid? She had forgotten about Jun Linyuan. Right now, she was using Jun Linyuan's body while Jun Linyuan was using hers, which could die if they weren't careful. Seeing the falling stones, Feng Wu picked Jun Linyuan up and dashed off. Jun Linyuan's face went scarlet red. Ahem, he felt embarrassed. Feng Wu looked down and found the gesture inappropriate, so she threw Jun Linyuan over her shoulder instead. Jun Linyuan was speechless. Thump! As soon as she made the change, she ran into a rock a few steps away. It almost gave her a nosebleed. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Jun Linyuan was speechless. Everything seemed to happen quite suddenly. Feng Wu said awkwardly, I'm still adjusting to your power. How awkward. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead and felt even more guilty. Jun Linyuan had always kept his handsome face immaculate. But now, there was a bump on his forehead. Jun Linyuan wanted to say something, but he could only take a deep breath and fight down his anger. Let's go. Feng Wu said, Don't worry. I'll use your power well. This won't happen again. Right at that moment, rumble. The palace they were in a moment ago exploded and turned to ash. This power. Feng Wu looked down at her hand and wondered if she had enough power to destroy the empire. The feeling of having so much power was unbelievable. Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan rose to his feet and looked at Feng Wu. Do you feel powerful? Feng Wu asked, Shouldn't I? Jun Linyuan snorted. I do have some power, but remember this. I was set up as well. Feng Wu said, That's because of me. Jun Linyuan waved at her. I was set up, and there's no excuse. Haven't you realized something? Feng Wu asked, And what might that be? Jun Linyuan narrowed his eyes. The person made me fall into their trap. Do you think a stupid person could do that? Feng Wu said, Of course not. They have to be one of the smartest people in this world. Jun Linyuan went on. They prepared the magic vine, and I didn't notice it until the very end. What do you think about their capability? Feng Wu said, They have to be remarkably capable. Chapter 2025, The Romance, 13. Chapter 2025, The Romance, 13. Jun Linyuan said, So which smart and powerful man is targeting you? Feng Wu shook her head in confusion. Jun Linyuan said, I have no idea either. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Even Jun Linyuan didn't know. Jun Linyuan said, I don't even know where to start searching. Feng Wu bit her lip and asked gingerly, So, did you switch bodies with me to keep me out of danger? Jun Linyuan gave her an arrogant look. Otherwise, do you think you would be able to handle it? Feng Wu couldn't think of a retort. Jun Linyuan said, This person has been hiding in the dark like a viper. Who knows when they'll attack next? They might have planned this for a very long time. Feng Wu asked, Who can it be? Jun Linyuan snorted and said, I also want to know where you found such formidable enemies. He only said it in passing, but Feng Wu was taken aback. Maybe the enemy wasn't going after her. Maybe they were after her beautiful master. Her beautiful master was so formidable that to be his enemy, they had to be very powerful as well. Even Jun Linyuan was intimidated. Who could it be? Feng Wu wanted to ask Little Phoenix, because it might have a clue. But, where's my little Phoenix? Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan. When such a powerful enemy was watching her like a serpent, she felt that her life could be in danger at any time. It's sealed away, said Jun Linyuan. What do you mean by that? Feng Wu was confused. After some thought, Jun Linyuan explained in simpler terms. The moment we exchanged souls, it used all its spiritual essence to seal up a space. Wow! Feng Wu's eyes lit up. As soon as the loyal bird realized that something was wrong, it sealed up the space, shutting the beautiful master and itself inside. That way, Jun Linyuan couldn't see inside. That was awesome. Meanwhile, Feng Wu couldn't stop singing Little Phoenix's praises in her head. Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu. The look in his eyes was very intimidating. Feng Wu asked, What? Jun Linyuan smiled. You have a secret space. Feng Wu said, well, everyone has their own secrets, right? Jun Linyuan gave her an indifferent look and turned to leave. Feng Wu immediately knew that he was angry. But why? Jun Linyuan coughed loudly as he walked. Feeling both worried and guilty, she quickly followed him and held his arm. Hey, why are you angry again? Jun Linyuan brushed her off and wouldn't talk to her. Feng Wu grabbed his sleeve. Boss Jun, Brother Jun, why are you angry? Please tell me why. Jun Linyuan stopped and stared at Feng Wu with an aggressive look in his eyes. Chapter 2026, The Romance, 14. Chapter 2026, The Romance, 14. Feng Wu looked innocent and confused. Jun Linyuan wanted to say something, but hesitated. In the end, he sighed in frustration and said, I don't want to talk to you. Feng Wu cleared her throat. The crown prince felt like a little boy sometimes, and was so lovely that she wanted to rub his head. But when she recalled how terrifying he was, she kept that thought to herself. Nevertheless, she was still happy. Since Little Phoenix had shut itself in together with her beautiful master, her biggest secret was safe. The remaining problem was, before she could figure something out, she heard a snort. She looked up at Jun Linyuan in bewilderment. What now? Jun Linyuan looked away and sounded disappointed when he said, Just because I don't want to talk doesn't mean that you should stop talking to me. His voice was so low that she could barely hear it. She moved closer and asked, Come again? I didn't hear you. Come again. The crown prince glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu looked very innocent and wondered why the crown prince was angry again. No wonder everyone said that he was the most unpredictable man. Jun Linyuan said, We're leaving. Feng Wu said fine. In fact, she wanted to ask him about the fairy. Now that her beautiful master and Little Phoenix were no longer a problem, she was worried about that fairy. Because if Jun Linyuan looked closely enough, he would be able to connect the fairy to her beautiful master. What was more, she had completed all the tasks the fairy had given her so far, and was on the 8th trial now. If Jun Linyuan found out the truth about the change in her attitude toward him, the thought alone made her want to kill herself. Feng Wu followed Jun Linyuan closely and was filled with conflicted feelings as she looked at him from behind. Should she ask him or not? With Jun Linyuan's short temper, would her question create even more trouble? Feng Wu was distracted and didn't watch where she was going. The next moment, she stepped on Jun Linyuan's foot. Jun Linyuan took a deep breath, turned his head, and glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu said, I just... Jun Linyuan said, Do you have any idea how damaging you are right now? Feng Wu looked down and saw Jun Linyuan's wounded heel. She felt very sorry, because that was her foot. Feng Wu said, Jun Linyuan said, Ask away. Feng Wu said, Well, how do you know that I have questions? Jun Linyuan snorted. It's so obvious. You're as restless as a monkey. It doesn't take a genius to see through you. Feng Wu said, Is it so obvious? You make it sound like I can't wait to ask you something. Jun Linyuan said, So you don't want to ask? Feng Wu said, Says who? Of course I want to ask you. Jun Linyuan slowed down and glanced at Feng Wu. Feng Wu bit her lower lip and asked, Your Royal Highness, how much have you repaired to my body? Jun Linyuan gave it a thought. How much? Chapter 2027, The Romance, 15. Chapter 2027, The Romance, 15. Feng Wu's eyes twinkled. Yes. How much? Jun Linyuan found the question idiotic. After a pause, he said about 1%. 1%. Feng Wu stared at Jun Linyuan. Are you saying that you only have 1% of my bodily functions? Ordinary people would have collapsed, but you still can walk around. Jun Linyuan said, That's why you're ordinary, and I'm not. Feng Wu cleared her throat. Fine, fine. The crown prince looked like a 3-year-old when he bickered with her like this. Well, Feng Wu finally got around to asking the real question. Have you seen a little fairy anywhere? Do you mean this? The crown prince raised a finger. On it, The thumb-sized fairy was yelling at him. Feng Wu jumped up and tried to take her. But Jun Linyuan glanced at her and put his hand behind him. "Hey, Jun Linyuan, give her back. Give the fairy back to me." She jumped around Jun Linyuan, but couldn't get the fairy back. Jun Linyuan glanced at her. "Do you want her?" Feng Wu said, "Yes. Please give her back to me. Now." The fairy had so many secrets. She couldn't let the fairy stay with Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu reached out, but Jun Linyuan said coldly, "No." Feng Wu was astonished. "What?" She gritted her teeth. Jun Linyuan said grumpily, "Why should I follow your orders?" Feng Wu said, "Hey, Jun Linyuan, what are you? 3 years old." The crown prince wouldn't look at her. Feng Wu walked up to him and held his arm. "Boss Jun, I'm sorry. Would you please give the Peach Blossom Fairy back to me?" The Peach Blossom Fairy? Jun Linyuan raised his hand, pinching the fairy between his fingers. "Yes, this is her. It said that having her around will make it easier for me to find love." Feng Wu began to make up stories. She couldn't tell him about the 12 trials of love which the fairy had given to her. Nor could she mention the fairy's connection to the broken star pieces. She had to lie to him. "Do you want to be in love?" Jun Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu. Feng Wu was speechless. She now needed to make up more lies to cover up the first one. "Well, yes." Feng Wu nodded. "Of course I do. I'm a girl." Jun Linyuan gave her a sidelong glance. Shouldn't girls feel shy about such things? "Well, of course I will, when I meet the right boy," Feng Wu said matter-of-factly. "I haven't met him yet. Why should I be shy?" Immediately after she said that, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. Jun Linyuan's face darkened, and he put the fairy away. "Hey!" Feng Wu was flustered. "Jun Linyuan, what happened? Why are you angry again?" Jun Linyuan wouldn't even look at her now. He marched off, walking as fast as he could. Feng Wu trotted after him. "Hey, slow down. Be careful with my body." Chapter 2028, The Romance, 16. Chapter 2028, The Romance, 16. Jun Linyuan looked so angry that even his hair seemed to be on fire. Feng Wu didn't know what to do. "I now know why people say that you're so unpredictable and can get angry at anything. Why are you being so difficult?" By then, they had reached the bronze door exit. Meanwhile, an unusual thing was happening outside as well. Everyone was watching Xiaoling. The girl was amazing. She had risen from a level 1 spiritual elder to a level 1 spiritual grandmaster and was still advancing. If she wasn't a genius, no one was. Many people began to make plans. They were all trying to find out who she was. "What? She's just a maid. She's Feng Wu's maid." If she was well-connected, no one would be so interested, but it was obvious that she wasn't. Therefore, people began to make their move. Master Dugu was the first one to speak. He said to Feng Yinfeng, "Master Feng, congratulations. Your clan has such a talented girl." Feng Yinfeng cupped his hands. "You flatter me," Master Dugu asked. "I wonder if I can persuade you to part with her." "Master Dugu, what do you mean?" Feng Yinfeng looked bewildered. Master Dugu raised a hand and spread his fingers. Feng Yinfeng smiled bitterly. 50,000 taels of silver? Master Dugu, that doesn't sound very sincere. Master Dugu said, "Master Feng, you should be more imaginative. I mean 50,000 low-grade spiritual stones." "What?" Feng Yinfeng was astonished. Master Dugu said, "Master Feng, what do you think?" Feng Yinfeng hesitated. That was so tempting. Just then, Masters was smirked. "Master Feng, Feng Wu killed my children. Aren't you going to compensate us?" Feng Yinfeng heard it when Feng Wu was said to have killed Zhuo Qingyu, but he decided to deny it. "Master Zhuo, I'm sorry that your daughter and son are dead, but you have no evidence that Feng Wu did it. Please don't rush to conclusions." Rush to conclusions? Masters narrowed his eyes. "I hope you can say the same thing when Feng Yiran and Feng Sang are found dead on the street." Feng Yinfeng was shocked. That was a blatant threat. He hesitated. At the same time, Chieftain Senil, who had kept silent until then, spoke. "Your Majesty, I'll give you 100,000 acres of grassland in the south in exchange for this girl. Please consider my offer." Emperor Wu stared at the chieftain. They had yet to figure out how Feng Wu had died, but Chieftain Senil was already trying to take advantage of the Junwu Empire. Emperor Wu studied all the forces. They were all watching Feng Wu's made like vultures drooling over meat. Seeing that they were going to raise the stakes again, Emperor Wu waved them off. "There's no need to rush. The girl hasn't woken up yet. Let's wait." He then added, "With her talent, she can choose her future freely." Everyone fell silent. They all turned their gazes to the girl, who used to be a nobody. Chapter 2029, The Romance 17. Chapter 2029, The Romance 17. From today onward, everyone would know her name. She made a breakthrough again. She's a level 3 spiritual elder now. Level 4. Level 5. Have you noticed? The grass around her turned black. That is to say, she has the dark element. Princess Ranmil is light, and this girl is dark. The two elements are incompatible. I wonder which of them is more powerful. Just then, someone cried out, "Have you realized something?" "What?" "If this girl is as talented as Princess Ranmil, as her master, how talented must Feng Wu be?" "No, I don't think so. Feng Wu probably isn't as talented as this girl. Look, she's waking up." Whoosh! Immediately, all eyes were on Qiuling. Qiuling slowly opened her eyes and looked around her. The expectant looks on everyone's faces nearly frightened her. "You!" Qiuling jumped to her feet. Feng Sun stood by her side and said, "Don't worry. I promised Xiao Wu I would protect you." "Where's Miss Wu?" Qiuling asked nervously. She was flustered when she looked around, but didn't see Feng Wu. The others couldn't wait to name their price. Master Dugu said, "Miss Qiuling, if you join my family, your future will be very promising." Masters was said, "The head of your clan has sold you to me. From now on, you're a member of the Zhuo family." The Sino Grassland and other major clans all invited her to join them as well. Qiuling was shocked to see all the influential figures trying to recruit her. She turned to Feng Sun and asked, "What's going on?" Feng Sun smirked. "They didn't find anything valuable in the tombs, but you've risen from a level 1 spiritual grandmaster to a level 5 spiritual elder. Seeing your potential, they all want you to be on their team." Qiuling said, "Am I a level 5 spiritual elder now?" That news sounded like a thunderclap in her ears. When she checked her condition, she almost burst into tears. She really was a level 5 spiritual elder now. "How did this happen?" "I didn't do anything." Qiuling was confused. "Hey, little girl, did you find the seed of the spirit source?" Someone shouted. The seed of the spirit source. Whoosh! Immediately after that, all eyes were on her. Qiuling said, "No, I didn't. I don't even know what that is." Sapphiro pressed. "Then how did you advance so much? Did someone help you?" Everyone stared at Qiuling. Qiuling was used to being a maid and felt uneasy being stared at by so many people. But she had grown up with Feng Wu and knew how to maintain her poise. "No one but my mistress helped me," Qiuling said seriously. "Miss will let me to a hot spring and have me bathe there. When I woke up again, I was like this." Chapter 2030, The Romance 18. Chapter 2030, The Romance 18. "What?" Qiuling's words astonished everyone. "Who's her mistress?" "Feng Wu. She's Feng Wu's personal maid. She said that all she did was follow Feng Wu to a hot spring." Holy crap. Is she talking about the spiritual spring? The spiritual spring? Everyone has been saying that it's inside the tombs, but no one has ever found it. To enter the spring, one needs spirit pills and an ultimate body. Moreover, the White Ghost King has to open the door willingly. It's next to impossible to fulfill all 3 criteria. Did she fulfill them all? Everyone turned to look at Qiuling. But Ranmil wouldn't believe it. If that was true, it meant that she was less important than Feng Wu's maid. Gritting her teeth, Ranmil asked, "That spring you went to, Were there a lot of ghosts? Chilling said, yes. Ranmil asked, to stay inside that spring, you'll need spirit transformation stones. Where did you find them? Chilling asked, do you mean the black stones that look like obsidian? Ranmil frowned. You've seen them? Chilling said, yes. The white fairy gave Miss Wu a lot of them, and Miss Wu gave all of them to me. If those were spirit transformation stones, I had more than enough. Ranmil was frustrated. Chilling, if I remember correctly, when you were sold to our clan, the elders examined you. You didn't have anything special about you, so why do you have an ultimate body now? Feng Yinfeng ground his teeth and stared at Chilling. Chilling said, do you mean what I have now? I used to be an ordinary person, but Miss Wu gave me an ice water bath every day. With time, I obtained this ultimate body you're speaking of. No one believed her. They all stared at her in resignation. They had never heard of such a thing and decided that she was lying. Chilling said, why won't you believe me? Master Dugu said, it doesn't matter if we believe you or not. Just tell me, would you like to come and work for the Dugu family? Masters will cut him off. Chilling, they've given you to the Zhua family as compensation. Chieftain Sinal and the other forces made their offers as well. Chilling looked at them in resignation. She then asked Master Dugu, Master Dugu, why should I join the Dugu family? Master Dugu said, Feng Wu is dead, and you have nowhere to go. Joining us is your best option. I'll do my best to train you. Chilling shook her head. Master Dugu asked, do you not like my offer? Chilling said, Miss Wu isn't dead. Master Dugu smiled wryly. We all saw her being buried alive in the tombs. She couldn't have survived. Chilling said, even if that was the case, Miss Wu won't die. Even if everyone else is dead, she'll still live. I don't care how many people saw it. Countless people have tried to kill her since she was little, but in the end, she was never the one who was killed. Chilling smiled confidently. Miss Wu is definitely still alive. The others only found her claim idiotic. Chapter 2031, The Romance, 19. Chapter 2031, The Romance, 19. Sapphiro said, the door to the tomb will only open 3 years later. Do you think Feng Wu can survive that long? Chilling rested her hands on her waist and said proudly, I don't know about other people, but nothing is impossible for Miss Wu. The others were all speechless. Girl, do you know what's going on now? You're a genius now. Stop talking about your Miss Wu. You're much better than her now. Finally, someone decided to tell Chilling the truth. Your mistress is a level 7 spiritual elder, and you're level 5 now. Soon, you'll be better than her. Chilling glared at the person. Masters was snorted. The head of the Feng clan sold you to the Zhua family. From now on, you're not allowed to mention Feng Wu anymore. Chilling found those words idiotic. Who sold me to your family? Masters was said. Master Feng did. Chilling said, I was never bought by the Feng clan. Miss Feng is my only mistress. That's my contract. Master Feng, did you forget that? Whoosh. Immediately, all eyes were on Feng Yinfeng. Feng Yinfeng was dumbfounded. He faintly remembered it. All the servants whom Feng Wu wanted were sold to her alone. Back then, Feng Wu was a genius and the treasure of the Feng clan. No one would say no to her requests. Who could have expected that Xiaoling, who had almost starved to death on the streets, would become a genius now? Masters was stared at Feng Yinfeng. Feng Yinfeng smiled bitterly. I'm sorry, but I didn't remember it clearly enough. Xiaoling indeed belongs to Feng Wu only. But Feng Wu is dead. Masters would gritted his teeth. My mistress won't die. Even if I have to choose a family to work for, it won't be the Zhua family. Xiaoling smirked. Zhua Qingyu tried to kill me. I won't be silenced just because she's dead. Zhua Qingyu had tried to kill Xiaoling? What on earth happened in the tombs? Just then, there was the sound of someone making a breakthrough again. Who is it now? Look, it's there, next to the small door to the tombs. Let's have a look. Whoosh. After what happened to Xiaoling, everyone was very sensitive to breakthroughs. Ranmil and the others looked at one another. A breakthrough. A small door. Was Feng Wu coming out? The remaining members of the chosen team headed in that direction as well. They arrived at the spot to find a girl lying by the door, but it wasn't Feng Wu. It was Duan Chaoga, Feng Wu's friend. Seeing Duan Chaoga, Dugu Mengshi smirked. It's Duan Chaoga. Her level is so low, so what if she makes a breakthrough? Ignore her. The others took a look and saw that Duan Chaoga was a mere level 9 spiritual grandmaster. They all shook their heads in disappointment. I thought we would see Feng Wu here, but it's just an unimportant girl. There are countless level 9 spiritual grandmasters in the Empire. Chapter 2032, The Romance 20. Chapter 2032, The Romance 20. Ignore her. Just ignore her. Right at that moment. Duan Chaoga made another breakthrough when everyone was about to walk away. What? All the people that were going to leave halted and stared at Duan Chaoga in disbelief. Did she just make another breakthrough? Am I seeing things? If I remember correctly, she was a level 9 spiritual grandmaster a moment ago, but she's a level 1 spiritual elder now. Oh God, is she going to be like Qiuling? No, Qiuling is unnaturally lucky. How can Duan Chaoga? Chaoga made another breakthrough. Shit. Please don't tell me she's a level 2 spiritual elder now. I'm sorry, but she just made 2 breakthroughs. That is to say, she's a level 3 spiritual elder now. Holy crap. That was what everyone here was thinking. When the news was reported to Emperor Wu and his high-ranking officials, they were all astonished. From a level 9 spiritual grandmaster to a level 3 spiritual elder. Oh my God, she made 4 breakthroughs in a row. What kind of experience did she have in the tombs? That's why people say that it's very dangerous inside, and if someone can come out alive, they'll be generously rewarded, Emperor Wu said with a smile. Empress Dugu smiled bitterly, but Princess Ranmil didn't get any rewards. The smile froze on Chieftain Sinal's face. Your Royal Highness. A young eunuch ran toward them, panting for breath. Your Majesty, Ms. Duan Chaoga has made another breakthrough. What? Emperor Wu was really surprised now. For breakthroughs were already a generous reward, but the girl. Your Royal Highness. Your Majesty, Ms. Duan Chaoga has made another breakthrough. Emperor Wu could no longer sit still. I need to take a look for myself. Master Dugu could hardly contain his excitement when Emperor Wu arrived. Miss Duan here has become a level 6 spiritual elder. That speed is insane. Emperor Wu grew excited as well since this was another genius for the Junwu Empire. As the emperor, he was of course happy. Is she going to make it to the next stage? Master Dugu was equally excited. She's almost there. Buzz. She made 2 more breakthroughs. Gosh. They had been amazed by Qiuling's talent earlier, but because her level was very low, it was understandable that she could make rapid advancements. But Chaoga was a level 9 spiritual elder. It would be very hard for her to make advancements, yet she had just risen to a level 8 spiritual elder in one go. How did this even happen? Many people couldn't accept it. Why could she make such rapid advancements? Why? Just then, Dugu Yamo cried out, 6 months ago, when we were in the Imperial capital, Duan Chaoga was only a level 5 spiritual master. What? The others couldn't believe what they just heard. But Dugu Yamo nodded and said seriously, Feng Wu was still in northern border city at that time, and Duan Chaoga was in the Imperial capital. She was only a level 5 spiritual master and was living a miserable life. Chapter 2033, The Romance 21. Chapter 2033, The Romance 21. It's only been 6 months, and she's already a level 8 spiritual elder now. This is so scary. If she keeps doing this, we'll all have to look up to her. Half a year ago, she was still a level 5 spiritual master. To get where she was now, she had to go through the spiritual grandmaster and spiritual elder stages. That was a terrifying speed. How did she do it? Sapphiro asked in a shaky voice. Ramil stared at Dugu Yamo as well. So did everyone else around her. Guillermo was never used to being the center of attention. She was a little flustered, but she still told the truth. I believe that Duan Chaoga found her ability again when Feng Wu returned to the Imperial capital. Feng Wu made this miracle happen. Nonsense. Sapphiro was the first to protest. That's all nonsense. The others joined in. If Feng Wu really is as good as you say, why did she die? Why was she only a level 7 spiritual elder if she was that good? Why didn't she make the miracle happen for herself? In the end, they concluded, that's just ridiculous. They felt so strongly mainly because they didn't want to admit how capable Feng Wu was. Therefore, as soon as someone complimented Feng Wu, their first reaction was to deny it. Just then, you're so loud. Duan Chaoga rubbed her eyes and sat up. Just like Xiaoling, she was scared by the crowd as well. She jumped to her feet and yelled, "Hey, why are all of you standing around me? Where's Xiao Wu?" Seeing Xiaoling, Duan Chaoga immediately asked her about Feng Wu. Xiaoling relaxed when she saw Chaoga. They were on the same team and were both Feng Wu's capable friends. Xiaoling said, "Miss Wu left me in the pool before she left. When the tombs collapsed, she risked her own life and came back to get me out. Although I was unconscious the whole time, I knew what was happening." Duan Chaoga said, "When I ran into Xiao Wu, that bastard Zhuo Qingxian wanted to rape me. Xiao Wu stabbed him, but he survived." Feng Sun said, "Zhuo Qingxian wanted to kill Xiao Wu, so I killed him." Xiaoling said, "Zhuo Qingyu wanted to kill me, but Miss Wu saved my life. Zhuo Qingyu was severely injured. I wonder if she survived." From their conversation, one could put the pieces together and figure out what happened in the tomb. Zhuo Qingyu wanted to kill Xiaoling, so Feng Wu killed her. Zhuo Qingxian tried to rape Duan Chaoga, and Feng Wu severely injured him. Zhuo Qingxian was killed by Feng Sun when he tried to kill Feng Wu. Zhuo Ming and Mrs. Zhuo stood there with the Zhuo family behind them. But they couldn't do anything, because anything that happened in the tombs stayed in the tombs. No one was allowed to get revenge. But they couldn't guarantee that the Zhuo family wouldn't get their revenge in the future. Chapter 2034, The Romance 22. Chapter 2034, The Romance 22. Xiaoling asked curiously, "I was put in the spiritual spring and obtained a pure ultimate in body, which is why I made such quick progress. What did you learn? Did Miss Wu take you there as well?" Chaoga nodded. "Of course. Xiao Wu had the sister in the white dress take me to Unflower to learn sword skills, so I went with her." Unflower? That name astonished everyone. They stared at Duan Chaoga as if they were looking at a stranger. Masters Wu cried out, "Unflower? Are you referring to Miss Hua, who killed a man in broad daylight?" All eyes were on Duan Chaoga. Back then, Unflower killed that man right in front of the crown prince, who was now the emperor. Emperor Wu was walking toward them, and his face darkened when he heard this, because that incident was a great humiliation. But he had special feelings for Miss Hua as well. Thus, he stared at Duan Chaoga with an indescribable look in his eyes. Duan Chaoga didn't think much of the question and immediately answered, "The sister in the white dress indeed called her Unflower, but I don't know if she's the one you're talking about." Emperor Wu asked, "Does she wear a red outfit?" Duan Chaoga nodded. "Yes." Emperor Wu asked, "Is her weapon a relentless flower? Are all the petals of the flower used as weapons?" Duan Chaoga said, "Yes, but I'm not good at it. I only learned a little from her." Emperor Wu sighed and murmured to himself, "So, she was in the tombs all these years. That meant that she had passed away at some point." Emperor Wu's face darkened at that thought. "Is she an old acquaintance?" Duan Chaoga asked curiously. Emperor Wu cast her a stern look. "Isn't she teaching you? Why don't you refer to her as your master?" But the girl was quite stubborn in her own way. Although she was answering the emperor, her mind was still on Xiao Wu. So she said matter-of-factly, "I haven't asked Xiao Wu yet, so I can't call her master." The others all found her claim strange. How does Feng Wu have anything to do with it? Duan Chaoga didn't understand why the others couldn't understand her. She said matter-of-factly, When Xiao Wu sees her and thinks that she's good enough to be my master, I'll be her disciple. Everyone else was speechless. What? This was Unflower she was talking about. Together with Red March, the two of them were known as the Two Flowers. Who was Red March? She was Ramil's master. Everyone knew that Unflower almost crippled Red March with one strike. That was to say, Unflower was more powerful than Red March. Many people couldn't help but look at Ramil. Ramil had been ignoring Duan Chaoga, but now Duan Chaoga's master was more powerful than hers. That was awkward. At that moment, Ramil had clenched her fists in her sleeves, and her lips were trembling. How dare this Duan Chaoga humiliate her? Chapter 2035, The Romance, 23. Chapter 2035, The Romance, 23. Nonsense. Who can prove it? Who can prove that your master is Unflower? Ranmil smirked. Duan Chaoga said, I told you already. I can't call her master yet. Can't you understand me? Ranmil almost choked on her own spit, because that meant that Duan Chaoga had the right to choose whether to call her master or not. Ranmil smirked. You're so smug. Duan Chaoga said, I'm a genius. Who else is she going to choose? You? That felt like a slap to Ranmil's face. Before, she felt that she was too powerful to bother with such things, but now, her cultivation level had dropped, and she had a weaker master. How humiliating. Chaoga suddenly cried out, Wait, am I seeing things? Why is your level so low? Did someone hit you? Cough. She might as well have slapped Ranmil in public. You! Ranmil had never felt so humiliated. Emperor Wu threw a dirty look at Duan Chaoga. That was a little over the top. Ranmil was still a princess. Ranmil smirked and retorted, You talk about Feng Wu all the time, but you're never going to see her again. If you want her opinion, you'll have to wait until your next lifetime. Ranmil then turned to leave. Are you wishing Xiao Wu dead? Chaoga's face darkened. Xiaoling said, Miss Chaoga, they all say that Princess Ranmil is the reason that Miss Wu is trapped in the tombs. Trapped in the tombs? The others were all speechless. Why were Feng Wu's people so confident? Why did they believe that Feng Wu would come out alive? But it would be another 3 years before the door opened again. Even if she could survive the turbulence earlier, who could last 3 years in the tombs? Hearing this, Chaoga was furious. Stop right there. Chaoga marched toward Ranmil. What did you just say? Ranmil snorted. So what if Xiaoling and Duan Chaoga could make a lot of breakthroughs? Without Feng Wu, they were nothing. At that thought, Ranmil smirked. I told you already. Feng Wu is dead. But before Ranmil could finish, Chaoga raised her hand and slapped her. Before, she would never have been able to hit Ranmil. But now, Ranmil had lost her cultivation when she was in the tombs. By the time she realized what had happened, she had been slapped. That was so fast that no one saw it coming. Ranmil was the most respected princess in the grassland. Therefore, they all stared at Chaoga in astonishment. How dare you hit me? Ranmil shook from head to toe. She had been slapped by Feng Wu's lackey. How dare she do such a thing? Die! Ranmil used to be a smart person, but now she had lost her mind. Chapter 2036, The Romance, 24. Chapter 2036, The Romance, 24. Having lost control, Ranmil was as wild as a shrew. She reacted quickly and slapped Chaoga, smirking as she did so. Feng Wu's dead. She's dead. Duan Chaoga was furious. She wouldn't be so angry if Ranmil hadn't said that. Die. Go to hell. No, you go to hell. One was the newly found genius, and the other was the sacred lady of the senile grassland. But now, they were fighting like two shrews trying to take out each other's eyes. Everyone watched in disbelief. Gosh, they knew that Duan Chaoga had always been a violent girl who didn't care about courtesy, but Ranmil was known for her gentleness. Why was she like this as well? Unfortunately, the violent girl was gaining ground. She straddled Ranmil and punched her in the face. She spared no effort, and her fists hit the target every single time. Thump, thump, thump. Duan Chaoga punched as hard as she could. Her eyes went bloodshot red, as if she was hitting someone who had killed her entire family. She bellowed as she punched Ranmil. "This is for Xiao Wu. How dare you hurt her? I'm going to kill you." Ranmil had been reduced to a spiritual grandmaster and wasn't Duan Chaoga's match. She was getting slaughtered. Everyone watched with wide-open eyes. They were shocked. Why was this happening? Men found it inappropriate to intervene in a fight between two women. Chieftain Senil was furious, and he shouted at Emperor Wu, "This is outrageous. Are all women of the Junwu Empire so defiant?" Emperor Wu didn't hear him, because all his attention was focused on Duan Chaoga. The way she used her spiritual essence and threw punches was exactly the same as Unflower. That was to say, she really was Unflower's disciple. "So, she's inside," Emperor Wu murmured. Seeing that Emperor Wu wasn't responding, Chieftain Senil turned to glare at his son. The older prince immediately walked toward them. He was very strong and easily shoved Duan Chaoga away. Feng Sun stepped out and caught her. Still fuming, Chaoga wanted to charge at Ranmil again. Feng Sun stopped her. There, that's enough. If you don't stop now, you'll kill her." Ranmil looked very miserable now. Her hair was messy, and Chaoga had pulled out a lock of her hair, which looked very painful. Her clothes were in tatters, but her face was the worst. Her fair face was covered in bruises, and her cheeks were swollen. The others could barely recognize her. "How dare you?" Emperor Wu finally spoke. He glowered at Duan Chaoga and said angrily, "Duan Chaoga, on your knees." Duan Chaoga didn't like the sound of that and glanced at Emperor Wu with a pout. Emperor Wu got even angrier. Chapter 2037, The Romance 25. Chapter 2037, The Romance 25. Feng Sun nudged Chaoga and whispered, "Obey His Majesty. Don't make His Majesty hate Xiao Wu." "What?" Hearing that, Chaoga immediately dropped to her knees. Pointing at Chaoga, Emperor Wu was so angry that he didn't know what to say. He pointed at Chaoga with a trembling finger and gritted his teeth. "In all my years, this is the first time I've ever seen a girl fight like that in front of me, and the person you hit was a princess." Chaoga wouldn't have it. She tilted her head and stared at Emperor Wu. That's because she deserved it. That attitude. Emperor Wu almost fainted. "You unruly girl. You've defied your emperor and assaulted a princess of the grassland. That's punishable by death." Emperor Wu was furious. Everyone else was astonished. Was the emperor still holding a grudge toward Unflower for killing his guard back then, and wanted to kill her disciple now? Miss Duan was a genius now. "Your Majesty, have mercy. Your Majesty, please don't." The senior officials implored him. Master Dugu said, "Your Majesty, the girl is a stubborn one. Please let me take her away. I'll refine this crude stone into a piece of jade." Masters Wu glared at him. "Why should the Dugu family have this genius girl?" "Your Majesty, I've just lost 2 children. Please give the girl to the Zhou family." Seeing this, Lord Mu decided to join in the competition as well. He said, "Your Majesty, as you know, Yao Yao has left the Imperial capital, and I have no children living with me now. I'd like to have this girl as my goddaughter, and I'd like your Majesty's permission." And they weren't the only ones who wanted to recruit Chaoga. The heads of the other forces tried to claim her as well. Duan Chaoga was dumbfounded. She looked around her and mumbled, "Why am I so popular now?" Feng Sun said grumpily, "Hey, be content. Don't be smug." Duan Chaoga said, "I'm not." Feng Sun said, "You're the only disciple of Unflower. All those men wanted to infiltrate the mysterious Hua clan, but failed. You, on the other hand, succeeded without knowing it. You may inherit the Hua clan one day. Of course, these men want to take advantage of your status." Emperor Wu smirked. "Since so many people have pleaded for you, I don't think I should kill you now, but you still need to be punished. You'll be flogged 80 times. Duan Chaoga said, "What? Why? Hey!" At Emperor Wu's command, 2 guards charged toward her. They were so strong and powerful that they picked her up like eagles catching chicken. Meanwhile, someone had set up the bench. The 2 guards pressed Chaoga onto the bench and tied her hands and feet. She couldn't move at all. Chaoga panicked. Didn't those people call her a genius? Wasn't she the only disciple of Unflower? Wasn't she going to inherit the Hua clan? Why was she being punished? Getting flogged meant that her trousers would be removed in public, and that was the worst humiliation for a girl. Feng Sun pleaded on her behalf. "Your Majesty." Chapter 2038, The Romance 26. Chapter 2038, The Romance 26. But as soon as Feng Sun spoke, Emperor Wu threw a dirty look at him. "Shut up. One more word, and I'll punish you as well." Prime Minister Liu, who was seldom noticed, glanced at Feng Sun and shook his head. If His Majesty wanted to punish the girl, he must have his reasons. Because only after he punished her could he give her a job. It sounded unreasonable, but one could understand if one thought about it. But Feng Sun didn't have time to think. He couldn't let such a humiliating thing happen to Duan Chaoga. If he just stood there and watched, Xiao Wu would never forgive him. "Your Majesty, please stop this." Feng Sun knelt down and cupped his fists. "I'll take Miss Chaoga's place." Emperor Wu was furious. He glared at Feng Sun. "If you like being punished so much, you can have it. Bring me another bench." Feng Sun will be flogged twice as many times as Duan Chaoga. "Spare no strength." "Your Majesty." Lady Northern Feng paled. The "spare no strength" part was terrifying. The people doing the flogging were the most capable eunuchs in court. If the emperor told them to spare no strength, Feng Sun would suffer from internal injuries. "Sorry about this." 2 old eunuchs stepped out. There was no expression on their faces, and they gave everyone an oppressive feeling. "Lady Northern Feng, please leave," Emperor Wu said coldly. Seeing this, Ranmil smirked. "Princess, shall we go?" Xiao Xiao, Ranmil's personal maid, spoke gently as she took care of the wounds on Ranmil's face. They were already leaving, but Ranmil stopped when she saw what was going to happen. With her swollen face, she grimaced in pain even if she moved her mouth a little, but she still snorted. "I'm not going anywhere. Why should I? His Majesty has my back now." "Start." Emperor Wu gave the order. Whoosh. 2 benches were set next to each other. Feng Sun and Chaoga lay on their stomachs. 2 old eunuchs stood on one side each, and instead of wooden rods, they were holding rods made from iron. They were thick, long, and filled with spiritual essence. Chaoga almost fainted at the first hit. It really hurt. But many people were watching closely, as if they were going to recruit Chaoga as soon as the flogging was over. Ranmil laughed. Sapphiro laughed. So did the older prince. And Chieftain Senil. Use all your strength. This was the way Emperor Wu maintained his dignity as an emperor. Thump, thump, thump. Each time the iron rod fell, blood splashed. It was such a scary thing to watch. Chaoga felt that she was going to pass out. She gritted her teeth. If Xiao Wu was here, Xiao Wu would never let this happen to her. Just then, she heard a click. The tightly shut bronze door slowly opened. Oh God, she's still alive. How's that possible? Chapter 2039, The Romance 27. Chapter 2039, The Romance 27. Everyone stared at the bronze door in amazement. There stood a teenage boy and a teenage girl, both beautiful and extraordinary. Together, they looked as wonderful as a picture. But no one was in the mood to be amazed now, because everyone was astonished to see who they were. Feng Wu, isn't she dead? Doesn't the door only open once every 3 years? Ranmil sprang to her feet and watched in disbelief. How is this possible? She had to be seeing things. But their Feng Wu was very much alive. No matter how many times Ranmil rubbed her eyes, Feng Wu didn't disappear. To Ranmil's frustration, The crown prince of the empire was right next to Feng Wu. Moreover, wherever Feng Wu went, Jun Linyuan was half a step behind her, as if he was her most loyal protector. What a scene! Moreover, Ranmo also noticed something strange. She was the one who had pushed Feng Wu back into the tombs, and it was only reasonable that Feng Wu would go after her as soon as she came out. However, Feng Wu was giving off a cold air now, and she looked so unapproachable that one felt a chill even just looking at her. There were no emotions in those brooding eyes. Ranmil stared at Feng Wu. However, to Ranmil's frustration, no matter how hard she stared at Feng Wu, the latter only looked past her as if she didn't recognize her. She completely ignored Ranmil. That was even worse than hatred, because hatred meant that she still cared. Feng Wu's indifference meant that she didn't care about Ranmil at all. Ranmil was already angry at Duan Chaoga, but now, Feng Wu's ignorance completely infuriated her. She wasn't the only one who noticed how cold Feng Wu looked. Many people saw it as well. Sapphira was a bit slow. Since she stood closer to Feng Wu, she mocked her. "Isn't it Feng Wu? I thought you died in the tombs. I didn't expect to see you come out alive." As soon as she said that, she noticed that Jun Linyuan gave her a glance. That made Sapphiro's head go blank. The Feng Wu she was talking to used to have bright, pretty eyes, but now they looked like the eyes of an eagle. One glance from Feng Wu, and Sapphiro felt a chill run down her spine. Sapphiro wanted to speak, but she forgot what she was going to say. Meanwhile, Jun Linyuan smirked and said, "I see that you've missed me." "What?" Sapphiro immediately waved her hands. "Your Royal Highness, that's not what I mean. I was talking about Feng." Chapter 2040, The Romance 28. Chapter 2040, The Romance 28. Feng Wu looked around and noticed in pleasant surprise that people would look away when their eyes met. They all feared her. She felt like she was back in the classroom in her previous life, when students wouldn't meet the teacher's eyes for fear that they might be picked out to answer questions. Switching bodies with Jun Linyuan didn't seem so bad now. As soon as she began to like her new identity, she saw a miserable scene. Chaoga. She and Feng Sun lay on their stomachs on two benches, and their lower backs were badly mutilated. Feng Wu felt something click in her head. Usually, she was an easygoing person, but she would never let people hurt her family. "Chao." Feng Wu walked toward Chaoga, but Jun Linyuan tugged at her. Feng Wu looked at him in confusion. Jun Linyuan said grimly, "Remember who you are now." Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She was so worried just then that she almost forgot that she was Jun Linyuan now. If she went to look at Chaoga in this body, Chaoga would probably freak out. Everyone was watching Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan. Maybe they didn't dare to stare at Jun Linyuan, but looking at Feng Wu was fine. Therefore, they saw something they didn't want to see. Were Feng Wu and the Crown Prince so close? They were murmuring to each other and kept tugging back and forth. Ranmil almost couldn't contain her jealousy. Feng Wu couldn't care less about Ranmil's feelings. She looked at Chaoga and saw that the latter was stunned. She couldn't understand why Jun Linyuan looked so concerned. Feng Wu cleared her throat. She didn't want people to think that there was something between Chaoga and Jun Linyuan. She then walked to Feng Sun and asked coldly, "What happened?" Feng Sun said, "His Majesty wanted to punish Chaoga, so I thought I should keep her company. Otherwise, she would be so lonely." Feng Sun, he must have been punished because he said the wrong thing. Feng Wu threw a dirty look at Feng Sun and mimicked Jun Linyuan's tone. "Idiot." Feng Sun chuckled and scratched his head. "What a fool." Feng Wu felt a little guilty. Feng Sun looked surprised. Since when was the poker-faced boss Jun so compassionate? Did something happen in the tombs? Feng Sun said, "I'm so relieved that Xiao Wu came out with you. I wasn't so worried because you were inside. I didn't expect you to save her." That girl said that. Feng Wu frowned. What did she say? As she spoke, she reached into her sleeve to find some medicine for Feng Sun and Chaoga. But she didn't find anything, because it was carried by her original body. At that thought, Feng Wu reached out to Jun Linyuan. What? Jun Linyuan frowned at Feng Wu. The blood-clotting pills, Feng Wu said. Jun Linyuan looked impatient, but he still took a small porcelain bottle out of his sleeve and tossed it at Feng Wu. Chapter 2041, The Romance, 29. Chapter 2041, The Romance, 29. Feng Wu happily took the medicine and was about to give it to Feng Sun. But Feng Sun looked at her in amazement. So did everyone else around them. What? Were they seeing things? The crown prince had just smiled at Feng Wu and asked her for something. But Feng Wu couldn't be bothered to talk to him and even impatiently threw something at his royal highness. That was outrageous. The girls who secretly had a crush on Jun Linyuan couldn't accept it, especially Ranmil. Her face had drained of all color, and she was frozen on the spot, as if she had been struck by lightning. No, something was wrong. She couldn't believe her eyes. Next to her, Xiao Qiao was perplexed. Your Highness, doesn't Miss Feng Wu like His Royal Highness? Why is she so arrogant? Ranmil didn't know what to say. So, the others had seen it as well. It hadn't been an illusion. As for the others, no one dared to discuss the crown prince in front of him, but they still found it odd. Why was Feng Wu so arrogant? Since walking out of the bronze door, she had kept her hands behind her back, as if she was inspecting her territory. She seemed to treat the rest of the crowd as ants. And she was so impatient with the crown prince. How could she do it? They all felt so indignant on the crown prince's behalf. To their frustration, the crown prince smiled at Feng Wu. Had he smiled? Was he infatuated with Feng Wu? Feng Wu also noticed the strange look in everyone's eyes, so she gave the medicine to Xian, Yi, and Xiuling. Xian Yi could treat Feng Sun, and Xiuling would take care of Chaoga. As for herself, she turned her head and saw the person next to her, who was behaving like the most capable man in the world. She nudged Jun Linyuan, hoping that he could change his demeanor. Jun Linyuan ignored her and turned to stare at Emperor Wu. Emperor Wu was infuriated by the look in Jun Linyuan's eyes. He gave the order to punish them, and they had only been flogged less than 20 times. He could understand if Jun Linyuan glared at him, but Feng Wu was the one glaring at him now. Crossing his hands behind his back, Jun Linyuan stared at Emperor Wu with cold eyes. Emperor Wu almost fainted. The look Feng Wu gave him made him feel like a fatuous ruler. Feng Wu was as bold as Jun Linyuan now. What? Do you have something to say? Emperor Wu walked toward her. Jun Linyuan asked coldly, why did you punish them? Emperor Wu was so angry that he almost laughed. How dare this girl question him? How dare you defy your emperor like this? Take her down. Emperor Wu pointed at Feng Wu. How dare you? The crown prince said coldly. Emperor Wu saw the familiar fierce look in her eyes. His heart skipped a beat. That look reminded him so much of Jun Linyuan. The crowd was astonished as well. How bold was Feng Wu now? How could she speak to the emperor like that? He was Emperor Wu. Seeing this, Feng Wu almost had a nervous breakdown. Chapter 2042, The Romance, 30. Chapter 2042, The Romance, 30. Feng Wu wanted to scream. She immediately grabbed Jun Linyuan's hand and stared at him. The crown prince ignored her and brushed off her hand. The crowd couldn't believe what they saw. What? What did they just see? Feng Wu just brushed His Royal Highness's hand away. How dare she? They all looked at one another and talked among themselves. Ranmil and Sapphiro were already flushed with anger. But Ranmil was better at controlling her rage. How dare she? Who does she think she is? Sapphiro and Ranmil were in the same boat now. Ranmil clenched her fists, and blue veins popped on her forehead. Emperor Wu was astonished. Since when did his defiant and arrogant son become so relenting? The Jun Linyuan he knew would definitely lose his temper. Feng Wu was doomed. Emperor Wu wasn't the only one who thought that way. The others also believed that was what was going to happen. However, the crown prince let Feng Wu push him away without protesting. Instead, he moved closer to her. What the hell? Had this world gone insane? Jun Linyuan's internal injury flared up after he pushed Feng Wu away, and he started coughing. He coughed so hard that his cheeks flushed. Feng Wu was worried. That was her body. So, she immediately moved closer and lowered her voice. How's my body? Is it serious? I thought you repaired it. Jun Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu, stopped coughing, and said coldly, The magic soul vine feeds on blood, and your body is badly damaged. How am I supposed to repair it so soon? Not even you. Feng Wu eyed Jun Linyuan eagerly. Jun Linyuan said, Your body is too weak. Feng Wu said awkwardly, You're going to repair it, right? Jun Linyuan threw a dirty look at Feng Wu and wouldn't speak. Seeing their heads getting closer and closer, Emperor Wu was furious. Jun Linyuan, come over here. Emperor Wu bellowed. Jun Linyuan followed. Emperor Wu glared at Jun Linyuan. Why did you bring that annoying girl here? That annoying girl? The crown prince didn't like the sound of that. His face darkened, and there was a cold look in his eyes. Emperor Wu was speechless. Did this Feng Wu think that she had married into the royal family already? Where did this arrogance come from? Feng Wu cleared her throat. She took Jun Linyuan's hand and whispered, Don't be angry. Your body is too weak to get angry. Please calm down. You're going to get me killed. Jun Linyuan snorted. But Feng Wu did have a point, so Jun Linyuan changed his demeanor. After appeasing Jun Linyuan, Feng Wu walked to Emperor Wu's side. Emperor Wu glared at Feng Wu and asked, Jun Linyuan, what do you think you're doing? Feng Wu looked perplexed. Emperor Wu asked, What are you doing with that, Feng Wu? Feng Wu said what? Emperor Wu was furious. Stop pretending. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you're more capable than I am. Do you really want to marry her? Chapter 2043, His Royal Highness 1. Chapter 2043, His Royal Highness 1. Feng Wu opened her eyes in astonishment. What? Marry her? Emperor Wu stared at Feng Wu in frustration. Yes, she's a pretty girl, and you probably won't find more than a handful of girls who are prettier. But you don't have to do this. Do you really need to indulge her like this? She can be one of your royal concubines at most. Remember this. We've already chosen a wife for you. Keep that in mind. Emperor Wu scolded Jun Linyuan. When telling his son off, Emperor Wu didn't sound so different from other fathers. Feng Wu then heard a beep in her head. You have 5 minutes until the 8th trial expires. I repeat, you have 5 minutes until the 8th trial expires. That was Peach Blossom, Fairy. Feng Wu called for the fairy in her head. Yes, the fairy said timidly. Feng Wu asked, Can you talk now? The fairy said, I may get caught, but I'm a kind person, so I have to deliver this message to you. You only have 5 minutes left, so hurry up. I'm off. Hey, you, Feng Wu called in her head. The fairy left quickly, and no matter how many times Feng Wu tried to summon her, she wouldn't show up again. That was how scary she found Jun Linyuan. 5 minutes. The 8th trial frustrated Feng Wu. Because the requirement was that Jun Linyuan had to officially acknowledge their marriage contract. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan a few steps away. Sapphiro and Ranmil were saying something to him. By the looks of it, they were saying bad things behind her back. In fact, the two princesses were provoking Feng Wu. Sapphiro did most of the talking. She stared at Feng Wu and asked, Who do you think you are? Poor Sapphiro. She had no idea that she wasn't talking to the real Feng Wu. Instead, it was Jun Linyuan, whom she had a crush on. The crown prince had a short temper, so he frowned at Sapphiro. Sapphiro smirked. You're not that good at all. You were a level 7 spiritual elder before you went in, and you're still a level 7 spiritual elder now. Did you know? Your two minions, Duan Chaoga and Xiuling, made some great progress. Duan Chaoga is a level 8 spiritual elder now, and even your little one is a level 6 spiritual elder now. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Who gave you the courage to push His Royal Highness? He can kill you for that. The frown on Jun Linyuan's face grew bigger. Seeing this, Sapphiro snorted. Guess what? My father decided to let the two of us go to the Junwu Empire with him this time. Your emperor said that we can choose any man in the Junwu Empire to be our husband. My sister and I have made up our minds. His Royal Highness is the only one we want. Jun Linyuan glanced at Sapphiro. But there's only one crown prince, and there are two of us. So, we're going to marry the same husband. Chapter 2044, His Royal Highness 2. Chapter 2044, His Royal Highness 2. Since we want this marriage so much, we don't expect to be official wives, but we'll definitely be the most senior royal consorts. Did you hear me? The most senior ones. You're not getting that title. Sapphiro bragged in front of Feng Wu and raised her chin. And you'll be nothing but a bed-warming maid. You'll see. After that, Sapphiro turned to leave. Once she and Ranmil were gone. More on. The Crown Prince spoke for the first time. Feng Wu could read lips. From her angle, she could see exactly what Sapphiro had said. She felt so embarrassed for the girl. Oh dear. If Sapphiro knew that she hadn't been talking to Feng Wu, but the Crown Prince himself, she would probably be scared to death. Feng Wu genuinely felt sorry for Sapphiro. Jun Linyuan, are you listening to me? Feng Wu heard Emperor Wu growl. The officials were used to the way Emperor Wu and Jun Linyuan interacted with each other, so they weren't surprised. What? Feng Wu was so focused on reading Jun Linyuan's lips that she didn't hear what Emperor Wu said. What was more, her time to finish the 8th trial was running out, and all she could think about was how to make Jun Linyuan help her do it. She grew anxious. Emperor Wu asked, "Do you really want to marry her?" He was shouting so loudly that it made Feng Wu's ears ring. Wait, her eyes lit up. The 8th trial required Jun Linyuan to acknowledge their marriage contract in front of everyone. And she was Jun Linyuan now. In that case, if she made the announcement, would that count? Jun Linyuan, answer me. Emperor Wu was going to explode. Feng Wu clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. My marriage contract with Feng Wu was never annulled. Father, did you forget that? At those words, a hush fell over the crowd. They could hear the sound of leaves falling to the ground because no one dared to breathe. If they had been surprised by the interaction between Feng Wu and the Crown Prince, what they just heard could make their hearts stop. The marriage contract was still in place. Hadn't it been canceled? How could they still be engaged? But the Crown Prince had said it himself. It had to be true. Sapphiro and Ranmil had just threatened Feng Wu, and they couldn't believe their ears. That was impossible. They screamed in their heads. All eyes were on Emperor Wu. They were all waiting for his reply. Emperor Wu was dumbfounded. In fact, he didn't know if the marriage arrangement had been successfully canceled or not, for Jun Linyuan had handled it himself despite his young age. Afterward, he wouldn't say a word about it, so Emperor Wu had stopped asking. He had been convinced that his son would give up on the crippled girl. Why wouldn't he? Chapter 2045, His Royal Highness 3. Chapter 2045, His Royal Highness 3. Emperor Wu looked like he had been struck by lightning. Feng Wu paid no attention to either Jun Linyuan or Emperor Wu. Right now, she was completely inside her head. She had just said the words needed for the 8th trial. Although it was an embarrassing thing to say, to get her beautiful master back, she would do anything. She waited nervously for the beeping sound. Her heart raced. Faster. She only had 5 minutes, and half of that time had already passed. She couldn't afford any delay now. However, no matter how long she waited, she didn't hear that sound. The only thing she heard was the fairy's voice. Gosh, little master, are you an idiot? The fairy communicated with Feng Wu again, despite the danger. Feng Wu looked perplexed. The fairy said, "Who are you?" Feng Wu said, "I'm Feng Wu." The fairy said, "Am I talking to you or His Royal Highness?" Feng Wu said, "Me, of course." The fairy said, "There you have it. Can you repeat what the 8th trial is, then?" Feng Wu said, Jun Linyuan needs to acknowledge our marriage contract in front of everyone. The fairy said, that's right. Jun Linyuan has to acknowledge it. Are you him? Feng Wu said, well. The fairy said in a hurry, your time is almost up. I'm off. With a whoosh, the fairy disappeared again. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She scratched her head. At first, she thought that she could use this body to finish the 8th trial. There would only be 4 trials left after that. How sweet, but there was no free lunch in the world. Feng Wu eyed Jun Linyuan eagerly. Jun Linyuan was looking at her as well. He waved at her. Feng Wu ran happily toward him. The crowd closed their eyes. The crown prince was running happily toward Feng Wu. They couldn't bring themselves to look. Feng Wu's thoughts spun as she ran toward Jun Linyuan. What should she do to make Jun Linyuan admit it in front of everyone? Feng Wu ran to Jun Linyuan, stood still, and took a deep breath. She got straight to the point. Tell me, does our marriage agreement still stand? As she spoke, she took out her half of the dark jade. It was said that this was the token of the marriage agreement. Feng Wu dangled the pendant in front of Jun Linyuan and asked, do you have the other half? In fact, Feng Wu knew that he did. Because she was Jun Linyuan now, and she knew that she had Jun Linyuan's half. She had found it when she had taken inventory of Jun Linyuan's belongings just then. Jun Linyuan kept his unblinking gaze on Feng Wu. There was an indescribable expression in his eyes. His eyes were like bottomless pits. No one could meet such a gaze, but Feng Wu wasn't just anyone. She needed to bring her beautiful master back. She had to finish this trial. Chapter 2046, His Royal Highness 4. Chapter 2046, His Royal Highness 4. Everyone looked at Feng Wu. Seeing that Feng Wu kept staring at the crown prince and didn't take out the token, they felt there was some hope. Had Feng Wu lost her half? She must have. Jun Linyuan glanced at Feng Wu. Do you really want to marry me so badly? Wretch. If someone was drinking water now, they would spit it out. Feng Wu must have lost her mind to talk to the crown prince like that. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan and said calmly, I just want to make sure that we both have our tokens. If the marriage agreement isn't valid, we can move on with our lives. Right? Jun Linyuan gave her a half-smile. Be honest. Feng Wu said, I am. The crown prince mocked her. You've known all along that I have it, and you're making me admit it in front of everyone. You must be doing it on purpose. Feng Wu blushed. Jun Linyuan was so clever. The crowd was speechless. How could the crown prince let Feng Wu talk to him like that? How did Feng Wu do it? Ding! Feng Wu finally heard the beep she had been waiting for. Congratulations. You've finished the 8th trial. Phew! Feng Wu let out a breath of relief. Finally, there were only 4 trials left now. After she finished them, she could get another broken star piece, and her beautiful master would wake up, and it wouldn't be for just 3 days. The thought of her beautiful master waking up filled Feng Wu with motivation and hope. But Feng Wu suddenly realized something serious. She and Jun Linyuan were actually still engaged. The engagement hadn't been annulled. Feng Wu heard a rumble in her ears. That was crazy. She and Jun Linyuan were engaged. I won't have it. Feng Wu was still trying to figure out how to make the engagement go away when she heard a familiar voice. Feng Wu looked up and saw the Empress Dowager. The Empress Dowager was hurrying toward them, supported by Granny Lawn. Despite her old age, she was very fast. Feng Wu saw that the Empress Dowager was doing much better now. The Empress Dowager wore a black brocade robe, and her face was darker than a cloudy sky. Grandma, although the Crown Prince and Emperor Wu couldn't wait to quarrel with each other, both loved the Empress Dowager. Therefore, even someone as arrogant as Jun Linyuan greeted the old lady. But he was Feng Wu now, and the Empress Dowager didn't like Feng Wu at all. So her face immediately darkened, and she threw a dirty look at Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan was speechless. Turning around, the Empress Dowager took Feng Wu's hand and said, Jun, I was so worried. Were you hurt? How do you feel now? Do you have a headache? Feng Wu glanced at Jun Linyuan. Jun Linyuan crossed his hands behind his back and looked up at the sky. Feng Wu smiled to herself, but didn't let anything show. She shook her head at the Empress Dowager. I'm fine. The old lady pressed. Are you sure? Feng Wu said, Yes, I'm perfectly fine. The Empress Dowager patted Feng Wu's head. You don't sound so good. Chapter 2047, His Royal Highness 5. Chapter 2047, His Royal Highness 5. The Empress Dowager patted Feng Wu's head. You don't sound so good. Feng Wu rubbed her head and chuckled. The old lady didn't like her at all, but now that she was Jun Linyuan, the old lady couldn't show her enough love. The Empress Dowager had turned around already, but she suddenly turned back. Recalling who she was now, Feng Wu immediately put on a deadpan face. The old lady didn't suspect anything. Feng Wu told herself that in her head. She had to be careful. She would be in a lot of trouble if the others noticed. And that wasn't all of it. With Jun Linyuan's temper, he must have made a lot of enemies. If they realized that she was actually him now, would they take the chance to kill him? If she was them, she would definitely do it. Therefore, Feng Wu took a deep breath and looked as Jun Linyuan-like as possible. Meanwhile, the Empress Dowager had already reached Jun Linyuan, a.k.a. Feng Wu. Her face darkened, and she looked very displeased. Show me the jade pendant. She reached out to Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan respected the Empress Dowager, so of course, he gave it to her. Hence, he handed the pendant to the Empress Dowager. She examined the pendant closely before putting it in her sleeve. Jun Linyuan looked at the Empress Dowager with a brooding expression in his eyes. We'll talk about the engagement after we go back to the Imperial capital, said the Empress Dowager, waving her hands. Jun Linyuan's face darkened. Was the Empress Dowager going to annul the engagement? Seeing this, the Empress Dowager was displeased, and she smirked. What? Are you upset? Jun Linyuan stared at the Empress Dowager. The Empress Dowager snorted. How dare you? You're just a common girl. Feng Wu was about to run to them when she recalled that she was Jun Linyuan now. So, she put her hands behind her back like Jun Linyuan did and strolled toward them. Feng Wu knew that Jun Linyuan hadn't forgotten that he should be playing her, but he was too proud to do it. Therefore, she glanced at Jun Linyuan and said, Hey, little Feng Wu, how could you upset the Empress Dowager? The Crown Prince turned to stare at Feng Wu. This girl was enjoying this. Feng Wu winked at Jun Linyuan, telling him to stay put. Jun Linyuan smirked. Feng Wu raised her chin and glanced at Jun Linyuan. Since when can a common girl sneer at me? Apologize to Her Majesty now. Jun Linyuan narrowed his eyes and gave Feng Wu a warning look. She was pushing the limit. There was a flicker in her eyes. She was taking the opportunity to tease him. Seeing that her grandson was on her side, the Empress Dowager was elated. The Empress Dowager gave Feng Wu an arrogant look before turning to the real Feng Wu. Jun, if you want to take this girl with you, you need to train her first. Thought you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.